2, 1.
So what do you think, Desmond? I bet after the teacup ride, you don't want to shoot yourself with that nasty revolver anymore. Do you feel any better? Yeah, I guess. Oh, that's great, Charlie. We did it! Successful mission! For a bit. Then it ended. Like all good things do. Huh? Well, yeah, but nice things can't last forever. That's exactly it. The best moments of life really just finding momentary distractions to keep yourself busy so you think about the harsh realities of a life for a second. I can ride roller coaster rides, meet new friends, and spend time with family all day long. It doesn't change the fact that the sun is going to explode, and this is all for nothing. I don't know if I agree with Desmond on that one because this new episode of Campy Cast of What Makes Life Worth Living. Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Guess who's here? It's
Well,
us. Back again. You might be thinking, wow, you guys dropped such a long episode. Surely there must be a bit of a break. I'm like, no, goddamn it, bitches. We're back. We're in the swing of things. We're here with an
mhm.
even better show than Breaking Bad.
Well,
This is our Smiling Friends special, but we'll get into that a little bit. We
yeah.
got some news,
Yeah, before we
but
get into
you know,
yeah,
it's
before we get yeah, we're doing another show today, 2 shows in a row. Pretty cool. Obviously, this
yeah,
is not
yeah,
going to be, as in depth, obviously, but it's going to be a fun one.
yeah.
Looking forward to this one
Yeah,
for a
exactly. I
while.
love doing the show episodes. They're some of my favorites to do, even I don't get to do them often because Anthony's not a huge show guy. But I'm very grateful whenever he does take some time out of his day to carve one out, and we'll
Mhm.
put it on the little schedule here. And yeah, we're with one of my personal favorite shows of the last few years of this one, Smiling Friends. I'll explain my whole history of the series, how I got into it, and the whole thing in a bit. First off, we're just going to talk a bit about some of the news. There's a lot of
Yeah.
news that we didn't talk
Not
about in
too
Breaking
much, but
Bad, but we're like, all right,
yeah. We
yeah.
we didn't talk
There,
about
there's
this
there's
last
some news.
episode,
It's
but
a little light. Some things I'm just gonna briefly mention here is there was a Nintendo Direct, and the thing is, I don't watch. Well, I don't play games anymore. This is my whole thing. I
I
had a
don't play
massive fall
games
off. Art.
particularly all that often either. Like, especially Nintendo games, a lot of them are pretty damn overpriced, and, a lot of it,
Yeah,
I don't
that's the
know.
whole system of it. Nintendo is, frankly, they have a problem where they, even if the game is good, they don't price it accordingly to the
Mm-hmm.
content. This has been a major problem with the Switch generation because the Wii U and 3DS generation had this thing called Nintendo Selects, where if a game got popular enough, it would get a permanent price cut to $20. It'd be a reprint and it wouldn't have the original cover, but it will be lowered to $20, and they do that for a lot of their biggest games. That made a lot of stuff not only easier to buy, but much more accessible to like general masses, general people. The Switch hasn't had that, so we have situations where games like Pikmin 3 that cost 25 on 25 Canadian at least on the Wii U are being sold for 65 on Switch. And Nintendo tried distracting people from this by literally removing fucking the original Pikmin 3 from the original eShop. So that's kind of fucked. Point is to tie it together though, because that's one of the things revealed. It was like, oh wow, we got Donkey Kong Country Returns, the Wii game on Switch, priced higher than the Wii game was. And it looks the
Wow.
exact same, except I guess they got the 3DS levels. So that's bullshit. I majorly fucked with Tropical Freeze. That's one of my favorite platformers. So I'm excited for returns in that sense, but also it's like, well, I'm gonna definitely have to get it used or a little bit later because I'm not fucking with that 65 price tag.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but mainly the big reveals, for me at least, that was Metroid Prime 4, which I don't fuck with no Metroid, but that game has literally it was
Been in
announced in
development hell,
2017.
yeah.
Yeah, literally. Because the whole thing was they announced it in 2017 at E3. And it was like, whoa, Metroid Prime, whoa. And then they had to restart, Retro Studios restarted development in 2019. And then we hadn't heard anything for 5 full years. And now it's coming out in 2025. So effectively, Prime 4 got announced and we had to wait 8 years for it to come out. That is very funny.
That
And I don't
yeah.
even like Metroid, so I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But
Even
wow,
it's like it's
I've
even
never
like it
played
was
that.
announced like 8 years ago. I think it was around the time the Switch was announced, and now they are
Yeah,
announcing
a
the
little bit
next
after because it would
Switch.
have been 3
So
2017. No,
yeah, that's how
after.
long this has
But
been in
that's
development. It's been development for most of the Switch, pretty much the Switch's entire life almost.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And I'm not even sure because next year is when rumors of the Switch 2 or whatever that's gonna
Very
be is gonna
interested
happen.
to
So
see
that's
how that
fun.
reveal goes.
I'm curious how that pans out because Nintendo has this whole logic that's been kind of shitty where they like the second they get like they have a big success they like fall off because they get so they have a big ego and that's kind of where their downfall was with actually a lot of big companies. It's like a trend in video game history. People are like, oh, the PS2 is the best selling console, and surely everyone's gonna buy this $600 disgusting looking piece of shit PS3. No one bought the PS3 at launch, so they had to work at that. And the
Mhm.
Wii was similarly where everyone's like, oh, everyone bought a Wii. Surely everyone's gonna buy a Wii U. No one bought a Wii U. And I'm
I
curious
did
how the Switch is
though.
gonna do with that because, yeah, I mean, I own a Wii U very
Same.
proudly, but but my whole thing is with the Switch. I am curious because I don't want Nintendo to fall back into that whole thing of they get really confident and then they're fucked over because the Switch is I think at this point surpassed the Wii in terms of sales and is one of the biggest things video game wise for the market because everyone has a fucking Switch. It's everywhere. So I don't want it to be they fucking fall back into that whole tactic again. But we'll see how the Switch 2 pans out. But
Yeah, curious to see
point
where
is,
that goes. We'll
um,
definitely be
yeah,
talking about that when that happens.
oh, oh, 100% on that front. But anyway, point is the only other two announcements I really was like, whoa, that's crazy, is a 3. They did another Zelda game in the style of the Link's Awakening remake. Wait, yeah, I think it was Link's Awakening remake, which I think is really efficient. It's cool that they created a style for a remake and now they're actually using it for an original game. It's a Zelda game where you can play as Zelda. That is such a novel concept. I'm surprised it took them fucking 20 30 plus years to do without the fucking meme to death CDI games. So that's interesting.
Hmm.
I won't play Zelda games. And the other two where my brain ass actually gets interested is new Mario Party, Super Mario
Yeah,
Party Jamboree. This is where I was like, the thing is, I'm skeptical about the fact that they're reusing two boards because I got Superstars, Mario Party Superstars in
same
2021.
actually. That is
That
the
is a
one
very
Mario
fun.
Party game I've ever played, by the way. I've never played any of
Yeah.
the other
Oh, yeah.
ones.
Look, it's funny. I grew up in the dark age of Mario Party because I played. I used to rent Wii games from my local library, and I played Mario Party 9 a good handful because of that. Then Mario Party 10, which everyone says is dog shit because of the fucking car mechanics, which is kind of true. Like, it's not great. And I played, oddly enough, Mario Party Island for a lot when I was really young on my 3DS. And I don't even know if that game's good. I just have a heavy nostalgia for it. The point is, they're all those. And then Super Mario Party came out, which I thought was fun, but the boards are ultimately a little skewed, and I wasn't a fan of the fact that only Joy-Con was mandatory because I don't like playing with one Joy-Con. I think that's inconvenient. Even
Yeah.
if you have a Switch Lite, you're practically fucked on being able to play that game because you have to reconnect other controllers and do it. It's stupid. It's stupid. The point is, those that Superstars I think was a lot better in the sense of like,
Wish there
okay,
were
there's a
more
little more
boards
meat.
though, definitely. Felt like there could
Yeah,
have been more of a variety. But besides that, it was like, still fun. It's still Mario Party. I love Mario Party. So, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like boy, I liked Superstars as a gameplay, but I thought it was lame. They not only ripped boards in the first three Mario parties, but again didn't just have many of them. And I'm hoping that this is fixed with this new one. From the gameplay, it looks fun enough. The mini games are solid. I like that there are new boards, although I wish they didn't have to rely on more old ones. And we'll see when it comes out. I might pick it up specifically because it's good to have Mario Party, so you can have a fun game to play with friends. Because Superstars is a great staple when I have people over and we're playing fucking online games. I
Hmm.
love Mario Party Superstars for that at least. And the final big announcement. This was the biggest one for me. Uh, Mario and Luigi Brothership got announced, which I am very excited for because thing is I love Mario and Luigi, but not for the reasons most people do. Because I played Mario and Luigi Paper Jam as a kid, and I was obsessed with that game, even though it is universally considered the most boring and most uninteresting Mario and Luigi game. Mainly because it's like more generic Mario-y back when everything followed the new Super games in terms of like how it was portrayed and how it was like organized. And also just it's weirdly did a crossover between the two big Mario RPGs and it's hardly Paper Mario series focused. The point is that game's like a 6 out of 10, but it's a 10 in my heart. I fucking love it. And Mario and Luigi was like one of the biggest RPGs alongside Paper Mario because we got all the game. They were inside story from what I've played. I fucking love that. Dream Team, I love what I've played of that. Superstar Remake, same story. I haven't actually beat all those, but I will in preparation for Brothership, I think. And the thing that was interesting, we didn't know if there even could be a new Mario and Luigi because Alpha Dream, the studio that made all of them, was shut down in 2019. They filed for bankruptcy, which is stupid because the only reason they filed for bankruptcy is because their games weren't selling that well. And guess what? One of their games weren't selling that well because they made a remake of Bowser's Inside Story for the 3DS in the year 2019 when the Switch was getting really popular, when the 3DS could already play DS games, and Bowser's Inside Story didn't need a remake because people think it's like perfect already. They should have done Partners in Time. So the point is, people are really in on fucking Mario and Luigi. Like we didn't even know if there could be another studio to make it, and Nintendo wasn't even saying who is making Brothership. But the point is to make it short and sweet. The art style looks beautiful. It
It
seems like
looks
it'll be the
really cool,
same
yeah.
vein as the classic. Yeah, it looks the same vein as the old Mario and Luigi's, and I'm very excited to hopefully pick it up in November because I fucking love Mario and Luigi. They're the goat. They're the goat in terms of RPGs, and that's it in terms of the the direct is today. I thought it was pretty alright, but again, I only want to pick up Mario and Luigi and Mario Party from this lineup. I'm a white Nintendo fan, I know, but that's my whole thing there. And in terms of news, that's mostly it, except regarding the fact that Cartoon Network is treating us like we're in 2011 again because we've reverted back to the days of fucking Gumball, Adventure Time, and Regular Show. They're all reverting back. Because Regular Show was announced to have a revival where they said, oh, we're going to bring back all. It's going to be. We're going to have some of the same characters, but it'll focus on a different new batch. I have no fucking idea what they can mean by that other than I guess we're just going to focus on the park workers, like the new generation shown in the final episode, which doesn't make sense to me. I hope they don't like fucking it seems unnecessary to me because I don't even like regular show is good, but it's horribly flawed, and I kind of hate its formula. So that's what I'll say about that. And then Adventure Time got a bunch of shit announced. There's going to be a movie done by Rebecca Sugar, which is inherently going to
Oh
be controversial.
no.
New season, yeah, yeah. It's funny though because Rebecca Sugar has done some of the best Adventure Time episodes, but she also has Steven Universe on her track record, which a certain frog watching this definitely loves. But it's definitely like so in terms of that. But point is, there's that. Then I guess a flashback show that's gonna be recreating classic Adventure Time episodes. I don't know how that's gonna work out. And on top of that, a fucking BMO preschooler show, which I don't know why that's happening. The claymation looks really good, but that's all I could say about that. Also, Fiona Cake season 2, and if that wasn't enough, Gumball movie is still in production
It's
and season
actually
7, which we talked about
happening.
before. Yeah,
Hooray.
yeah, which yeah, which things we talked about this before in an episode, but now we have more direct confirmation because the thing is now the most important thing is season 7 we directly know is following up what happened to the Void. And that just makes me want to fucking jump for joy because this is the main thing I wanted for so long. Because I
I
fucking
have
love
not
Gumball, but we've had that stupid. Hmm, yeah,
I have not seen as
go
much
on.
Gumball as you have, but I did grow up with it quite a bit. And when I first saw that
Mhm.
cliffhanger a couple of years ago, I started like, "What? What's going on? What?" And now that they're finally answering it, it's gonna be really cool to see. So,
It's
yeah.
gonna be very satisfying for people who like haven't like seen any of that because they've been fucking edging this for so long. Like it was in 2019. Then when all the Zaslav cuts were happening, like the Gumball movie will no longer be on HBO Max. It's like, well, fuck,
Yeah,
where is it gonna go
that's
now?
when
And
like
then we had that whole
no
thing.
one knew it was happening then.
Yeah, yeah. But see, now we're in this state where I'm not even sure quite where Gumball's head is at because we have the movie confirmed that is still happening, but we know that season 7 is happening, and season 7 is apparently addressing the events of the Void. So is the Void going to be the season 7 plot line? Are they transitioning it over to that? Is that what's happening? Is the movie still that? Are they both going to be that? Is the movie going to lead to some stuff in the show? We don't quite
How
know.
do these
And also, we
connect?
had the
That's
first
what we're wondering.
yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm sure whatever the Void stuff is, it's going to be amazing, but we just are kind of waiting and seeing right now.
Hmm.
And also, season 7's first episode, you read about, I like that they, while they're at this Annecy, that's the cartoon event they were at, that all this stuff was at, they gave people real life Joyful Burger props. That's
Oh, that's
adorable.
cool.
But, yeah, I noticed that they got like real ones. It was so cute. They got the fucking shakes too. So, they're so nice, so nice. But point is, we have the plot description for season 7, episode 1, which is a Miss Simeon episode called "The Burger." It looks like it has nothing to do with that whole thing, and
Nah, they
it
acting
quite
like
perplexes
nothing
me
even
because
happened.
exactly that's literally what they're doing. That's where my main perplexion comes up because I'm like, well, hold on, we still gotta do the whole thing, that can't be possible. We gotta have the fucking episode correctly. But I think it'd be really funny if it's like a fake out, like they make it seem like a normal episode and then they transition into the voice stuff. That would be
Maybe
funny.
it's all
But
just a
still, it's
troll.
like
Who knows?
we're up. I hope it is because that seems like a very gumball humor like joke, and I'd like that. But right now we're up in the air. I don't quite know how this is going, and like I talked about, season 6 of Gumball goes a little too far in some stuff. So in some respects, I don't even know if I want another season of Gumball, but I do want just the Void stuff, and we'll see how that's going. But the point is, I guess the whole thing is there's some other announcements that there's mild. Fucking Foster's Home's coming back as like a preschool thing, but
Never seen
it
that
looks gay.
show.
Scooby Doo show that's coming back that it's like anime themed. I'm not falling for that that trend of we're like making an American show look like anime so that all the weebs will watch it. I watch real weeb shit like Bocce the Rock and Azumanga Daioh. Thank you very much. But point is, I think this is kind of a sad thing with these three because it's this whole thing of well, Cartoon Network could be having much more iconic shows that kind of they carry on a new legacy. And the 2010 shows were praised for forging a new path for Cartoon Network. Gumball, Adventure Time, regular show. They broke Cartoon Network out of a rut. But now it's like we're relying on those same rut fixing shows like a decade later, and it's like, come on, I some of it I am excited for. Fiona and Cake is some of the best current TV, so I'm really hyped for that. And Gumball, I need that follow ups, and also an Adventure Time movie theatrical would like be like, oh, it would look so beautiful. Please, please, Rebecca Sugar, please cook. But aside from that, it's like, yeah, I don't even know. It's like so many original stuff is getting deleted and depleted, and we just got to rely on the same couple of shows. It's kind of depressing. Focus on the new big shows that deserve this kind of attention, not just the
Hmm.
same IPs we're getting regurgitated over and over again. That's my take, and I'm assuming I don't know how. Do you have any much more to say on that? I don't
Nah,
think I
nah. I
have
think you
really
summed
take.
it all up well. I haven't even seen some of these
And
shows, so I've just kind of been, letting you
yeah,
say what you gotta say.
these are things I would have brought up last week's, but we just Breaking
Yeah,
Bad survived.
that episode was long enough, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But point is, okay, I got it. Speaking of shows that are you should support instead of the big ones that are just in a rut, da 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 da
Uh,
da 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 I was doing the Smiling Friends
yeah,
thing.
the
If you
intro. Yeah, I
couldn't
got
tell,
that.
just
I got
on my
that.
matchup. But Smiling Friends. This is high key one of my favorite shows of all time. And I wouldn't say that lightly because I've seen season 1 at least 3 times. I've
I
technically
think I've
seen
seen
season 2.
like parts of episodes multiple times. At least, like I
Yeah,
think I've
I've
seen quite a bit of it. Like I think I've
yeah,
logged
I've
episode
seen.
one on
Yeah.
Letterbox like twice, but I'm like, okay, I've probably seen it more than that many times. Let's be
I've
honest.
seen that episode a bunch of times. I've logged season two. I've only logged once, but every time a new episode came out, I practically watched it the day after. So I've seen. I'm very clear on seasons one and two, and honestly, it's been one of those current things where I just am so appreciative of all it does for the medium. I'm so genuinely really grateful for the impact it has had.
There is like
And
a
just in general,
ton
it's
of
been one of my
respect
favorite
I
shows.
have for the creators and just
Oh,
what they were able
100%.
to do with this show.
I I just adore this show so much. So the only things I've been able to like, it broke out into the mainstream like in a big way with season one. There's this little dinky little internet thing that it was so it was created by Zach Hadel and
Right.
Michael Cusack. Zach Hadel, you might know for being the funny guy who his YouTube name is Psychic Pebbles, but he's on Oni Plays a lot. I don't watch a lot of that,
Same,
but
but I've seen
Search up Oni
clips
Plays
from it.
Nostalgia Critic. You won't regret it. That's my main takeaway from their channel. Also, when I watch compilations of them sometimes. But point is, he eventually got together with Michael Cusack, a friend of his, and also known for his own internet animation stuff. And eventually, they bounce around a bunch of like ideas. It's funny at first. The idea of the Mr. Frog show came before the idea for Smiling Friends because they had the joke of this. What if Mr. Frog show was just the show? But they're like, then they kind of pivoted to making what they called the Smiling Friends in universe equivalent of like the Itchy and Scratchy show, like in The Simpsons, where
That's
it's like
funny.
the
That's
big thing.
funny.
Yeah, like all the big thing where all the kids are. Yeah, I love that. All the kids in universe are watching and getting to, but the point is, then they eventually got more of the Smiling Friends idea. They some of their influences was cited as like South Park and Seinfeld. The Simpsons, I think, was another one that I've seen like an interview podcast that they mentioned. But eventually, they got it greenlit in 2018, and they eventually the pilot of this they got a pilot to see how it would go in 2020, and April 1st, 2020 actually, which is funny because the Wembley episode also debuted April 1st, 2022. The
Oh
point
yeah,
is that got Smiling Friends out the door. Season two,
2024.
season one, all dropped on one night in early 2022. And I fucking love it. This is some of my favorite modern shit. There is so much to appreciate in every frame of this damn show. And it really reminds me of a lot of what I appreciate about like current internet, like just animation and just the general idea of these are these fucking scrappy little internet animators and they made it to the big leagues and made one of the most iconic shows of the past like few years. Smiling Friends is gonna stand the test of time in that sense. People are saying, "What if Smiling Friends becomes the new Rick and Morty?" To that I say you're stupid, but uh, feeling good going episode
If
by
it does
episode on
become
this.
the new Rick and Morty, I will cry really badly.
Well,
I
see,
would lose
the
my
thing
mind.
is, people call it the new Rick and Morty in the sense of, oh, it's this Adult Swim show that everyone's gassing at, but oh no, it has this terrible fan base that's like gonna like
Not
take
really,
down.
no.
The thing is,
It's so much tamer
honestly, the
compared to
thing
the
is,
Rick and Morty fan base. Holy
hmm,
shit.
the thing is, it's kind of funny. Rick and Morty and Smiling Friends fans are the sort of different breeds. Where Rick and Morty fans have a sense of entitlement, where you know the copy pasta. To be fair, you have to have a high IQ to understand Rick and Morty.
Truly
Smiling
iconic.
Friends fans are kind of the yeah, exactly. But Smiling Friends fans are kind of have the opposite effect, where I notice a lot of them are in that sort of South Park esque fan tier, where they don't I don't want to say this in a mean way. I feel like they treat the show as being more wholesome than it actually is. Like if I had to rough it, there's like fucking half the fandom is like shipping wars. A lot of them with between Pim and Charlie, which is awkward. But also to get you a sense in the Smiling Friends fan base, when the new clip for the Jewel episode premiered, where Charlie said he was uncomfortable with Alan sucking his nose, there were Smiling Friends fans who were unironically sad about that
That
because
is
they
so
shipped
funny.
Charlie and Alan and thought and they thought the nose sucking thing was like a ship moment, so they were disappointed. Like that is so
Would be
fucking
mad
funny.
funny if
And I'll
like
get to that.
Zach and
Yeah.
Michael saw that and they were all like, "Okay, we gotta fix this. We gotta fix this."
That is funny. They're like, oh, people think we're shipping them. No, no. Charlie thought they was uncomfortable. He was violated by that. But we'll get to that more when we talk about the Jewel episode. But
Next season,
yeah, point
yeah.
is, yeah. Point is, I don't even think Smiling Friends can get that same reputation as Rick and Morty because Smiling Friends isn't trying to act smart, which I think Rick and Morty is. And also, Rick and Morty is, I think, a less smart show than Smiling Friends. And Smiling Friends has, I think, very interesting in how it communicates a lot of its ideas and we'll get into that. I think a bit. You want to just go episode by episode down this thing, just
Obviously, how else we're gonna do it? But before we get to that, it's like it's really cool with this whole show how like big it's become. You know, it's like very simple story. Some guys they went through a lot of different test animations, experiments, and whatnot in terms of what type of shows to make and like pitch for multiple pieces of animation. I think like there was this thing called Hellbenders that Zach was working on
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
Hellbenders.
There's a lot
Hmm.
to it, I guess. I
Yeah.
I don't remember the full story, but yeah, I don't really know too much about their work. Let's be honest, I was introduced to this
Mhm.
show randomly. I heard some people talk about it, and I'm like, oh, I'll watch it. I really did not know much about
I heard about
Zach
it
and
like
Mike's
because
work
it
at the
was making
time.
the buzz early. It was making the buzz early 2022. I know the pilot was a lot earlier, but that's when everyone was watching, and I was like, okay,
Yeah,
a new Adult Swim series. I'll
and
check
then
it
I
out. It's
binged the
really
whole thing
short,
in
and
one day, and I
yeah,
loved it.
yeah, same. I fell in love with the show almost immediately because I just the whole style and everything of it is great. And on top of that Hellbenders thing, see, I'm not overly like intellectual in any of that, but from what I know,
Same.
Hellbenders is like it was one of the things Zach Hadel he had beforehand, and he wanted to make that into more of a show. But the thing with that is Hellbenders is this very much has this sort of internet-esque humor thing where some of it is kind of like a lot of it is very simple, and when you're making that into a like actual like show, some of them are like literally a couple like less than a minute long, so it's like, well, that's a hard thing to sell as a big show without kind of ironing out some stuff.
Even
And
the
Smiling Friends irons it
animation
out. Yeah,
style feels
yeah.
very YouTube-esque in some way, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
exactly. It's not exactly like the big sense of where we are now. Where Smiling Friends, I think, in terms of that, it has a very I love the art style of the show. I'll get into that in a bit, but it's definitely like it has that little internet humor charm to it, and the same with like the joke structure where it's more refined like an actual show is, but you definitely have that internet edge to it, and that's a big part of I think why Smiling Friends has connected with so many people. It feels very much like a bunch of friends got around and made a show to fuck around. Those are my
It
favorite
does.
types of
It really
shows. It's
does. I love
yeah,
it for that.
exactly. And that's yeah, exactly. That's such a good vibe to it. And that's I think what people connect with so much because so many of the big networks nowadays are trying to find their next big thing. They're like, "Oh, we need a new big marketable show that everyone would love." That's how you get all these fucking focus tested shows like fucking Mr. Burcham or Paradise PD or Brickleberry, where they're all the same type of Family Guy clones. That's the audience we gotta hit. That's the demographic we gotta hit. We gotta push that. In contrast, Adult Swim's never been like that. Sure, they fucked over some shows, cough, cough, moral, oral, cough, cough, but they've
Mm.
ultimately been a place where freedom is much more encouraged and much more prone to really happen. It's why we get shows like Aqua Teen Hunger Force. It's why we get shows like fucking um, Mr. Pickles for how disgusting that show is. It's definitely not traditional in that sense. It's even, for how much I hate it, it's how we get shows like Rick and Morty, because Rick and Morty was not doing what every other adult comedy was doing when it premiered. I hate it, but you know, it has that luxury. Smiling Friends got that, and that is why it's been such a big touchstone, I think, and that's why it's connected with so many people. It has this real prime sense to it that I really, really love. And if you don't mind, I might as well just get into that with the first episode.
Yeah.
Uh, Desmond's Big Day Out. I love this episode with all my
It's
heart.
a
I think
really
it's
good
so
premiere.
fucking
Very
funny.
good start to
Um,
the show. First
yeah,
pilot,
I
basically.
think, yeah, yeah. I think from the get-go, this one does a great job at sort of introducing the vibes of quite what the show is like because the first conversation is there's that weird fucking internet spinny thing, the little love how he looks, the stupid internet looking guy,
Yeah.
and he's talking about how this great bit of mundane dialogue where we got our two main characters, Pim and Charlie, played by the titular Zach and Michael. The names would be reversed for the order I said them in. But those two guys, they're standing at the table, and he's talking about the fucking like the spin of the guy. And he's like, and it's this very mundane thing of, oh, you're the best part. He's like, oh, you missed the best part. It's like it's not even like that funny inherently, but it's this good thing of there's this already immediate contrast between these fucking bizarro random ass looking guys, Charlie and Pim. They have great designs. I love them so much.
Yeah, a lot of
And
comedic
then you
potential
get the
with it. Like I
contrast. Yeah,
like Pim's fucking
yeah.
very obvious squibble of eyes, eye
Oh, I
pupils. I
love
like
them so
that.
much. They look so charming. I love it when he gets excited. His little strand of like he has that one strand of hair that'll pop up.
Yeah,
It's adorable.
it's a
But
fun design. Same with Charlie. He
yeah,
works
yeah.
well.
I love Charlie's big ass nose and Alan too. The whole main four. I mean, it's funny. They're the main four, but also Alan is very much sidelined, and Glep can't even speak. But they have a great like dynamic. I love all of them. But
Yeah.
one is you get that great the great contrast like from the very beginning where you have these mundane conversations contrasted with just stupid looking people, and that is what a lot of Smiling Friends is built off of, that perfect contrast. Because the show gets dialogue better than almost any show out on the market. I love it for that. And then slowly we get into the main plot here. There's a part here that's kind of gross out humor, but also funny. The subversion of the Mr. Boss breastfeeding bit. You just kind of
That's
see the whole
that
thing.
was the like
It,
the first big joke that of the show that got me laughing. The whole
I was just like,
just
hold
the
on,
awkward
what the fuck
tension in
you
that
saying?
scene is so
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, yeah. He's it's so funny. He's like, "You mind if I just pull something out?" Like he's like, "Oh no, oh, we don't mind." And then he just pulls out the fucking That's so funny.
And
Like
then they
it's so
censored it
weird.
just as it
But
like awkwardly happens,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
explaining like
There's
nothing's going on. It's funny. A
yeah.
lot of the
And
comedy
also
of the
some
show comes from like, and it's gonna only like develop. We'll point this out more later as we go through the season, but a lot of it comes to how, like the weirdness and how it like blends into the environment and whatnot. A lot of that, the
yeah,
weirdness and
a
how it.
100%, 100%. That contrast is so important. And also just the quick animation note, I love that Mr. Boss's office is just this disembodied room with nothing in it.
Oh
Like it's
my
just
god,
one
yeah, that's
desk
so
in the
funny.
middle of an empty room. Like what is bro doing in there? That's so fucking
He's like in
funny.
fucking
But
purgatory.
yeah, exactly, exactly. That's so funny. Like, what is bro doing? Legit, it's hilarious. The point is, then after that scene, we get the iconic. First we get the iconic. I love helping kids. I love kids, Charlie. I love kids. Which I think is another. It's that part's been memed to death, and for good reason, like out of context. But I think it's a great way to showcase
Their
Pim and
dynamic.
Charlie's relation. Yeah, yeah, they're dynamic from the beginning because Pim is so well, Pim is okay. Pim is my favorite character in the show. I love him with all my heart. I tend to love in more adult shows that are more edgy. I love to like the more pure and innocent characters because they create a good contrast to everything else. You can see this with my favorites. In a show like Gumball, my favorite's Alan. My favorite South Park character is Butters. Uh, and Pim is one of the best examples of this trope. I think he's just so pure. I love him so much. But the point is, that joke is great. I love the way he's so genuinely excited. The way he fucking flails his arms around is animated so well. And then just the genuine fucking oh Pim, I would not be screaming that at the top of your lungs. That's so funny.
Yeah, it's
Also,
great.
you can see it in the letterbox banner, but I love the default shot of Charlie standing there with his mouth like fucking curved. He looks so pissed. It's great. But point is, after this, we get into the real joke of the episode where it's like, okay, these are the smiling friends. They call in people to make him smile. This is the whole basic premise the
It's
show
a good
abides
premise
under.
for a
But
show. I feel like there's a lot you could do with it. And,
yeah,
like
we'll
having
see
all
the
these like different group of friends just trying to make people smile, even though a lot of them
yeah,
feel kind of
exactly.
like not built for this like job. Like Pim makes sense
Yeah,
for
yeah.
this, but then you have Charlie who's just kind of chilling, doing his job, just kind of
Charlie is
very laid back and
Charlie is such a
silly.
funny character because everything he says is said in the most casual tone imaginable, and it's fucking hilarious. Like
Yeah.
everything he says is extra funny just because of how Zach Hadel like delivers it. I think honestly the reason he sounds like that is apparently he has some sort of condition with his nose where it's like it doesn't actually hurt him, but like something the way that works, it like affects his vocal cords. That's why he has that very specific sounding voice. Apparently, it doesn't affect him negatively, which is why he hasn't done it, and he likes it because it gives
Hmm.
him that distinct flair. But you know what? I love it. Charlie has a great natural voice. But point is,
As a
we
result,
got
I think
the
that voice actually, fits with the Charlie's design really well. Then that
oh,
only adds to
100%.
it.
It's like I think it makes sense to give the sort of nasally guy the yellowish design, like that adds up like, logistically you can connect the dots there. The point is that is fucking Grandma walks out or like it's hilarious that I love that design. This is type of voice you'll hear in a lot of Red the Smiling Friends characters. I think it's either Zach or Michael doing this fucking unhinged screaming voice where you hear it with her and a bunch of other people eventually. It's like and they're smiling friends. I can't do it exactly, but it's so good. The point is, then we get the first big joke of the episode before anything fucking happens. Pim and Charlie walk into the room, and oh, it's Desmond,
With a giant ass
who's not a
Glock
child.
pointed at the top
Yeah,
of his.
exactly. I love how apparently they rotoscoped a real gun for that, which is hilarious. But also, it's just like the the fucking contrast of what you expect, like Mr. Bus describes as he's been a bit
A
mopey
bit
lately,
mopey
and it's this
lately.
grown adult fat ass who wants to kill himself. That's already a really funny joke.
Yeah,
I love the look of
I'm
Desmond's
also like he's
involvement.
played by one
It's
of the
so
guys from
uncut.
Red Letter Media, right?
Yeah, yeah. Played by Mike Stacklasa, who he does great. I'll make note of him because he comes back in a later episode. But I love him as Desmond. He literally just does his Mr. Plinkett voice from the fucking the Plinkett reviews he did for like the prequels and some stuff. The reviews suck because he hates on the Star Wars prequels. But moving forward, I love that voice so much. He gives it that perfect dry monotone voice to him. Desmond is such a good design. Is like fucking like the way he looks so casual. It's great. I
Yeah, and
love
then the
him.
whole
And
episode basically revolves around them trying to make him happy. We get that great family scene where Pem's family
oh
life is
yeah,
just insanely insane and messed up. All while like the whole time this
yeah, yeah.
happens, it's so fucking funny that Desmond just carries around the giant Glock everywhere he goes. Like he
Yeah,
goes to a
he
fucking
literally never
amusement
pull
park and
he
nobody
never
says
shoots it,
anything.
but yeah, he never pulls it away from his face, and that's hilarious to me. Like, bro, what the fuck is bro doing? Like, it's
It's
so
so
funny. There's
fucking
so many
funny though.
great like. I swear to God, with these, I feel like it's gonna be a game of name the joke because there's so many good ones. But
That's
I
gonna be
fucking
a
love the
lot of
initial.
this episode, but like it's gonna
Yeah,
be fun, It's gonna be
I'm gonna point out a lot of them because I think it's good for me. I love breaking down why comedy works, and I think it's an underrated aspect where people are like, "Well, it's hard to describe why something's funny," which is kind of true, but I think joke structure is really interesting.
Yeah, I
People who
understand
get me
that.
out about The
I have that
Simpsons
issue
know that much,
sometimes, but like
apparently.
I've been like interested in like delving more into it as of late. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can definitely get it with this show, but I think again, a lot of it is I fucking love. First of all, there's another like two iconic memes already just from this first couple minutes where there's the famous "Look, Pim, I know it's our job to help this guy or anything, but I think this guy's a lost cause. He's obviously made up his mind." And the whole bit, that's great. And I love the part where Pim is just so genuinely after like, "Oh, you know what, Desmond, we can help you." And he's like, "Oh my God, he's so fucking adorable." He's like, the little hands there, and he's like talking to him. It's so funny because he's so animated so innocently, and then you just cut the Desmond who's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I can try, or else I'll fucking shoot myself." And he has to
Wait,
fucking downplay that.
what?
It's so funny. I love it. Also, I'm just gonna mention this now before we get head tails into the Desmond plot. Alan's whole thing in this is amazing. I love how that doesn't make any sense. He's trying to look for the fucking paperclip,
The
and
scene
that
where he just
paperclip leads him.
walks on this random guy in the room, just like
Yeah,
doing who knows what with the fucking computer, and then he's like being an asshole
yeah,
about
yeah,
it. He's all like, "Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
maybe you
Yeah,
should knock next
you
time,
should
even
you
though
should
this
knock
is your
first though.
own
It's so funny.
building." It's so funny.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny because
It's
like
funny.
it's so random, and you don't even know what he's watching on the computer. You don't know who he is. We never see him again. It's just it's great, perfect.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny actually because on the DVD commentary for that, for some reason they say Michael and Zach say that Danny DeVito plays that guy, even though it doesn't make any sense. I don't even know if
What?
that like yeah, there's like a joke they make. It's really weird. I don't get that
That makes him.
whole
That sounds
thing.
nothing like him. So I don't know.
It doesn't sound anything like him. That's why I was like, oh, that's not him. The point is, I love the way that guy is animated too because he has that fucking long ass nose, literally just like a blob, entirely white. And it's funny because they play up Alan's eccentricities before, where he's like, he emphasizes certain words, like, I just want my paper clips. And he talks. I love Alan's voice so much, by the way. He's legendary for that. The point is, there's that, there's that whole thing, and then immediately when he encounters someone more deranged than him, Alan becomes the fucking straight man. That's really funny to me. That like immediate like transition over, and then the rest of his plot is just really, really funny too. I love when he actually meets the fucking Bliblies in there. This I love their designs of those fucking little blobs, and then they stab Alan, and eventually when we lead to the conclusion, he's like, I just wanted my cheese. It's so iconic.
And he's like held up
So
on a
fucking
cross
iconic.
like fucking Jesus.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly. It's so goofy. I love him so much. And
yeah.
then yeah, the actual Desmond plot gets a lot of great ones. There's a like you mentioned, the Pym family scene is great. There's some great lines. I love his relative. That's a Graham Nelly. He's a Don Wiz at the skateboard, actually.
And then you just
Like,
get this
come on.
awkward
I noticed
sequence of him
actually,
trying to flip the
yeah,
skateboard.
yeah, actually, yeah. I'm noticing now. I'm playing back some of it. There's a drawing of Mr. Frog on the wall in the
Keep
back. I don't know if you noticed. There's
foreshadowing.
like, yeah, exactly. That's a cool thing. I love that each of their family gets like a little accentuated bit to be like a little
Yeah, they're
funny. I
good.
love the fucking his dad's like, "Oh, will you shut up, woman? I've been in like," and he's talking about the fucking coal mines or whatever.
It
He has
almost
such
makes
a
you question why
old.
Pim is so happy when his home life is like. But I guess then again, he did say he's been in it since
Exactly.
he's
It's
been
like
home.
another
But
great
yeah,
way to show his character, his perpetual optimism. And he's like, it's so funny. He's talking about who's trying to watch TV, and he has the same stupid looking like internet thing, which is the guy dancing, and then the fucking Pim sister who's like, "No, Pim, I genuinely hate you," and the fucking her boyfriend cracks. He's so genuinely like disappointed, and then and then like his her mom too. It's so funny the whole thing how just none of it goes well at all. It's so funny. The party scene is after this, which is great. The another I get another meme because of the part was like, dude, why the fuck are you here? Why are you? You're so old. Go home to your family, dude. Which that part was rotoscoped. That guy shows like later that's consistently rotoscoped. Which gives that distinct look is very funny. I love the part where Charlie is just generally like, I mean, yeah, you are old. I mean, it happens.
it's
Don't really be
fine,
sad
you
over
know.
it. So, yeah, exactly. It's so funny
And
how
then
that
this
makes him
leads
a
to
little
the fucking
self-conscious.
ending with Pim just getting all depressed as of Desmond's like cynical look on life. And then after that, you get the whole thing where he just finds happiness through killing the
Yeah, it's so funny
Blemleys. It's kind
because
of
the
wholesome if
whole
I'm being
Dave
honest.
set piece I think is really funny. All the little like, having fun at Dave having fun at Dave having fun at Dave But it's so funny. It's just like there's this mystique around the guys like, oh, it's Dave from Dave Land. Like, what does that mean though? Like, who's
Who the
Dave?
fuck
And
is
they never
this?
explain it. He's accepted to be a guy. You could meet him there. He's some guy. There's a theme park around them, and mm, this is another thing where you kind of get again. A lot of the strength in the show becomes from how a lot of it is animated and portrayed. That is what makes a lot of it so
Mhm.
fucking funny. And brr, well, the whole thing here is fucking when Pim is just like he gets out of it. There's a lot of great character bits. I love a lot of his little stuff. He has such vibrance to him as a character. I love Pim with all my life. But point is, um, the visual of him after Desmond gives the speech I opened with, he does this look on his face where he's just genuinely like, oh, like he just all the life of him is sucked out, and he's just genuinely depressed, and you just feel the sense of oh, poor guy. But it's so funny too because he's just like genuinely shocked look on his face, It's fucking
His
hilarious. And
fucking
this wouldn't
like
be as
design
funny if it was
changing
in
completely
yeah.
by the end of the episode and like
Mm.
a chair
This
being
wouldn't
put.
be as funny in any other show, but the fact that it's that specific shot and you saw that duration, she's just looking down, just reflecting. It's like, oh fuck, it's so funny. Also, the joke after that where like Des is like, "I got anything else?" and Charlie tries showing him like the ant to
I
make him
love
feel
that.
better.
You can tell like
Yeah,
he just doesn't give much of a shit. He's like, yeah, well, what about that?
yeah, exactly. Charlie has such a like a passive attitude. It's so funny in some episodes.
Yeah.
But point is, nobody actually finds his purpose. It's so funny how first of all, I love that Smiling Friends is not a very pessimistic show, which I think it tries to like. It feels like it in this first episode, the whole thing of oh, the guy wants to kill himself. He can't find his purpose in life, and that whole speech. I think some people have compared it to fucking Rick and Morty speeches where they're like, "Life is meaningless. There's no purpose." It's like, okay, well, yay. But point is, the whole thing is it's really funny because they portray the message of it's a genuinely strong message, I think, of okay, well, everyone's gonna have some sort of purpose in life. You kinda gotta find what you like doing and what you want to do. That is a great message. I love it. It just so happens that the message is being portrayed through fucking a deranged lunatic who still lives with his mom, who's suicidal, who finds purpose in murdering like little blibbly creatures. Like that is good because it is a good moral that doubles as a really funny joke. I love how kept like, and this is a running theme. Every time they play the smiling friend smile sound effect, it tends to come from some form of murder, and that is really funny to me. In this case, Desmond shoots someone, and that's what gives him the full smile. Like that is fucking hilarious. That's so good. And then I love his ad, the boy control,
That was
and then the
nice.
fucking ending where it's implied it's a sizable amount of time after, and Pim hasn't broken out of his thing. If anything, he's decomposing more. It's hilarious. The fucking I got my cheese back. Oh, come here, Alan, you crazy character. Like we'll get into that when we talk about the Jewel episode, but that's such a funny exchange. And then the TV for the beginning like ties it all together. It goes, hello, thank you for
Yeah.
watching. Hello, thank you for watching. Hello, thank you for watching. And just a perfect first episode. Honestly, I love it
Yeah. It's
so
probably
much.
one of
It's
the
so
ones I have the
fucking.
most to say about it. That might just be because it's, the first one, start of everything
It's the
type
one I've
deal.
seen, maybe the one of the ones I've seen the most. So it kind of comes with that. I have a lot to say about it. I
Yeah.
have a lot to say about all of them though. So we'll see as we kind of generally go along here. But yeah, I love Desmond's Big
Hmm.
Day Out. It is a awesome fucking episode.
Yeah. They were
And
all like that, let's
yeah,
be honest.
well,
Yeah, and
yeah,
you'll
yeah.
still
But
to learn. Next is Mr. Frog, and this is probably one of my
I'm
favorite
Mr. Frog.
ones.
This is my show. I ate the bug. I, Mr. Frog. This is the end. I love you.
What's funny about this one is like, so it's basically just, usual job. They're helping this guy named Mr. Frog who's got his own show and whatnot, who's been canceled. I think what this episode like succeeds at is just making fun of the idea of canceled culture and how companies
Mhm.
end up reacting to that in some way. And as a result,
Yeah.
it just ends up being really funny.
Yeah, exactly. The whole thing is it comes with the character of Mr. Frog, which, like I mentioned, they had the idea for Mr. Frog before the thing, and they led to the whole, like I said, Krusty the Crowd, Itchy and Scratchy type thing, which the in-universe show that everyone in the Smiling Friends world loves. And they portray this in the beginning really funnily through the idea of the fucking the whole thing of oh that I love the live action bit they do where they're like doing the whole that was the clip that spawned the beloved and iconic Mr.
Yeah, them
Frog
making this
show.
so
Which is the
dramatic is
whole
pretty funny.
yeah, it's so funny. And then they get the fucking the whole thing that starts the whole thing where Mr. Frog swallowed a TMZ reporter, which is funny because they exaggerate the cancel culture thing so accentuatorily because it's like, oh, there's this whole idea, except they're doing it where, oh, what's the person being canceled for? Swallowing someone whole. Like that's hilarious. And they get the whole fucking I love the bit after this where Pim's like, I don't watch the Mr. Frog show. Would you recommend it? And then Charlie's like, I would recommend the first like couple seasons or like all the other like dozens you could just like skip. Like that's so funny. Like this is a really long running show and only this sizable chunk is like respected. And also the joke of the Mr. Frog show being that well we know for a fact every episode is him eating a bug and saying he loves the audience. Like what? How are there so many fucking episodes that it's loved
It's
in that
making fun of
context?
like long running TV in some way. That's how I like to see it.
Yeah,
Like it gets
exactly.
get
It's
repetitive
very
after a
like it's
while.
like a whole joke about the idea of how long stuff like The Simpsons and Family Guy, South Park, that whole thing of going on that long. That's very funny, and I love
And just a lot
the
of
way
the
they portray
scenes
that.
with them getting Mr. Frog back are just really funny. Like the whole thing where he tries to meet with fans and then he just starts violently choking one of them.
Oh, 100%. It's so funny. What I do love is that Mr. Frog just doesn't. It's so funny. Another commentary on it is he just like genuinely doesn't feel sorry. Like I love
Boom,
the way
sorry, hello. He just doesn't give a shit. He's not gonna
yeah.
apologize. He's just a
Yeah.
deranged
And
menace to
what I do love is I love the
society.
scene where they're actually they're in Mr. Frog's like big mansion. It's really well animated. I love the part where they're like he's put out all the different like stuff. He's like, "Oh, look at this house." And I love the way Pip phrased it. He's so adorable. He's like, "Could you just apologize for swallowing that nasty TMZ report?" Like, okay, you're kind of underselling it there, man. But it's funny. He's just like he's just genuinely like not sorry, and he comes across as so innocent for how he speaks. But he says like, "Oh yeah, I'm not sorry."
He's just
Like the
so
whole fucking
funny in how he is
it
oblivious to
is. He's
anything. He's
hilarious. I love him so much. Okay, I also love the part where he pulls on Pim's hair. So he's like, "I'd rather you
I
not,"
love the
and then he
screaming in
does
this
it.
show. Like
And
the
then like
last
the
episode, for example, it cut to like the credits, and then you just hear Charlie screaming. It's like such amazing comedic
yeah
timing.
yeah. hmm It's so funny, especially when you get that immediate cut. The fucking like the credits or the like it's great how the whole thing works. And then on top of that, on top of all the Charlie scenes, which there are great ones, I want to highlight the other side of it, the fucking studio executive thing, because a detail I picked up on, well, I didn't pick up, I heard someone mention, I think is really interesting, where the studio executives, they're very purposely animated in a different style to the rest of the show that I think comes from the fact that you look at the guys that are animated much more like a generic adult cartoon sort of executive, which I think has been to
That's
poke fun of
true.
them in a way. I love the executive guy so much though. His voice is great, and the fact that he said that he goes from like he like loves Glep spitting, which is like he can't even speak. I don't know why he's the number one candidate for the Mr. Frog show. It is very funny though when he's like, "We got the guy. Everyone go home," and the one guy's like, "I missed my daughter's wedding for this." Like
Yeah,
that's so
all of them
funny.
just.
Like, but
And then one
it's
guy
so
was trying to
funny.
audition, and he's like, "Hey, get out." Him just being
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
and then
exactly.
like just the
And
way he tries to change the show just for the sake of like trying to make it safer and less edgy and whatnot, even though that's not the problem the
I love
audience has. It's just like
I
just
love the
trying
way he
so
says that
hard
where he's
to
like,
avoid controversy in any sort of way. It's like
yeah,
it's funny how they commentate on that in some way.
I love the joke so much where they were literally a couple scenes after, like, where they're like, Glep, it's about the spinning. I know we hired you for it, but just aggressive and toxic. Like, what the fuck do you mean? He's spitting.
What
Like,
it,
what does that even
it's
mean?
so
It's so
stupid. It's
funny.
funny though.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the montage is so great. I love the fact that they're like, all right, Mr. Frog's gotta get some as a great. He's like at the fucking gun range and he's doing the whole thing. That's hilarious. I love when when he goes cold turkey, he still ends up hurting people with the fucking check scene. Again, a great animation bit. I love how disheveled Mr. Frog looks. It's so funny. And then he's bad there even before when he's at the book signing. He's worse while on
Them
drugs, and at
drugging
least this is
him and trying to like make
yeah.
him better, and then as a result, it just makes him
hmm
worse. Like when he says like when he goes on this like fake Jimmy Fallon parody, and he's all like having to deal with
Yeah.
all the, and then they just censor it, and then you just don't know what he
I
said.
love the Jimmy Fallon thing so much
How they
because
exaggerate him
it very
laughing. That
much,
was funny.
it very much is a great parody of how he is. Because I fucking hate Jimmy Fallon, mainly because if you watch his interviews, you realize how many of them he'll like. I guess we'll say one thing, and he'll laugh, just interrupting the entire point and undermining what the person is saying.
True.
And they exaggerate that in this by just he has the most over the top, obnoxious laugh of all time. It's great. And then there's a whole interview bit. I love that well I do love the bit before this where Charlie's talking so casually about like what he needs to do. He's so funny when he's just casual like that. I love Charlie so much. The visual of him in the hot tub, and Mr. Frog just floating around. That's great. I love that stuff. It is perfect visually. It's fantastic. But the point is that Mr. Frog's at the interview and he says the certain a certain phrase. And what I love is Zach and Michael have talked about this, where there is in fact no uncensored version of the episode. Like, they didn't even say anything when he goes filthy. I think they just put in the amount of syllables and a z to make it like convincing. But the thing they said with that that's really interesting is you can sort of theorize any which way you want what that is. You can be like, oh, what is that? Like, whatever the most offensive thing in your mind is, that's what Mr. Frog said. And I love that freedom to explain it to the audience, but also it enhances the joke because then Mr. Frog said literally the worst thing on national television for no fucking reason. Jimmy Fallon wasn't attacking him. No one was. He just said it unpromptedly, and everyone has the most shocked reaction. I love when they cut back to Pittman and the fucking eyes out, wise popping, and his first like, yep, yeah, that was pretty bad. Like, wow, you think? And then just the whole resolution of the episode is perfect. The fucking the part where the Glep's redoing it, and they all just hate it, even though it's like again the exact same type Glep speaking gibberish. And then Mr. Frog gives this big, dramatic, over emotional speech that is like it gets immediately interrupted by he just fucking like the guy comes up with the contract. He has the fucking perfect bitchy voice for it. And then what does he do? He fucking eats him, and
Just
that's the
eats him.
ending.
Everyone
And
cheers.
everyone's
It ends. It
celebrating this.
ends like
Again, that's the perfect joke. That's when the fucking smile comes in, and they're all just like happy about it. I love the joke where Pim's like, Charlie, did we cause it? I don't know, Pim. Like he just genuinely
it's funny
is
because
fucking
like he gets
unaware
away
that
with
that.
everything at the end, which is often what happens in these celebrities and this culture and what in
Mm.
terms of the cancel
Yeah,
culture he's
exactly.
making fun of.
It's like
So
the whole
it
thing
was a
is
funny way
kind
to end
of
it.
it's a funny commentary on how ultimately all that blows over because we'll talk about this more when we get to the president episode. But Mr. Frog effectively at the end of it, he's still like he hits the live action person. He's about to physically, but no one cares because Mr. Frog's a big celebrity at this point. He's a fucking big shot. He can get away with that because he's so cool. Like that just kind of well, I'm not a fan. It's a good commentary on that whole subculture in a way I think is very interesting. But yeah, I love Mr. Frog. This episode's perfect as well. The show gets off to a
My
really good
favorite
foot with
episode
these.
of the show, one of them at least, not my favorite, but one of them.
Yeah, my favorite comes from season two actually, but we'll cross
Same
that bridge when
actually,
we
yeah.
get to it. Um, the point is, then after this we follow this up with Shrimp's Odyssey,
I don't
an
think I have
episode.
as much to say about this one, but it's a fun idea
Yeah,
with
I have
them helping this shrimp who's just depressed. The
yeah, yeah.
stuff I think what really shines here, the stuff with Charlie and the shrimp is so fucking funny.
Oh my god, I love it. It's so good.
The him trying to get
The
him back into work and
episode I
whatnot is just like the whole thing trying to get him back out of there
yeah.
after he's like this old, this just introvert from society, just this pathetic, and then like Charlie coming to this conclusion that like he's just pathetic and there's nothing you can do to help him. It's not even his fault.
Mm,
It's so funny.
yeah. It's so funny when they're in his like I love the part of the end where Charlie's just like he's like, fuck man, he just feels bad that he's not even like I'm not even just it's so funny, he's like, I'm not even expecting you. You was
It's
just
not
like
even
a
your fault,
shrimp.
man.
You
You're
was
just a
born
shrimp.
that way.
And
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny.
also,
And
the scene where someone
the
just
whole thing in this
randomly
one.
eats him while he's getting tan is also funny, like a part of
Yeah,
him.
exactly. Oh my god, it's so funny. I love the visual
The
of
guy
him
just
fucking
walks
doped out.
over and eats him.
Take a shot every time I say I love the visual in this episode. You'll be dead like by this segment. But it anyway, this episode again, I think it's not quite as good as the first two, but I still think it's very, very funny. It opens with one of my favorite jokes where we get the text like the number to call for small mood of 555
Yeah, that's so
100.
funny.
And if you don't text no, I really, really don't want small move. It's so funny how he just like comes. It's
He
so
just comes
fucking,
back at the end. That was
so
funny.
fucking funny.
The stuff
And
with
then the way
Pim,
that
his
ties in, like right when Pim's depressed, he's like, "Don't worry, Pim." Da dee da doo, da dee da doo, da
yeah,
dee da doo. Like it's so funny how they tie their beginning jokes into the end. How that all that kind of works around. I think that's really neat. I'm a big fan of that whole thing. I
yeah,
love when the jokes
definitely.
tie around. And it's really funny when yeah, when at the end of this one there's these jokes in all these Smiling Friends episodes where they have a fake in memoriam, and for this one, the in memoriam is of Smormu. Like that's fucking hilarious. I love that. It's so stupid. But yeah, there's just like again a bunch of little jokes in this one that I think are really funny. I love the thing at the beginning where Pim's eating worms because apparently his eyesight is that bad.
Oh yeah.
That's really funny. I love that.
And I like how that
Then the
comes
whole
back
fucking
at the end when with this whole situation where he thinks that the shrimp's girlfriend is just this grown ass woman and that he just doesn't
yeah,
question
yeah,
it.
exactly.
He just kind of
It's
like
oh
falls
my god,
in love with
I
her and
love the
how
way they talk about it at the end. It's just again, just, I think again, sold by the line delivery,
hmm
where they're talking about like for the whole girlfriend thing. It's fun. The whole thing of him being jealous is kind of lame, but I like the dream sequence. I like the scene of them actually in the coffee shop and the. It's kind of a shock value joke when he like vomits, but it's still kind of funny. The main laughs do just again come from the fucking
I the
come from the
subplot
fucking
itself
Charlie.
works. It's kind of it's all right, but I mainly just love this one because of the fucking Charlie and shrimp stuff,
Yeah,
and the
all 100
ending is
percent.
hilarious.
Like, yeah, yeah. I will say a fun fact about the fucking first plot is I remember hearing about this that the guy that get like the song they use for the montage like the romance montage between Pim and the girl. Do you know that that song was like the guy singing that is the guy who I think does the fucking Pokemon theme, like the I wanna be the very
Wow,
best. 'Cause
that's
apparently that's like,
that's
yeah, I know.
interesting.
I didn't. I heard about that, and that's like, I
Huh?
was like, wow, that's weirdly specific. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But that whole plot like has good bits. I think really though, like you said, the star of the show is the fucking Charlie thing. The way Shrimp talks is so funny. The way he's like accentuates certain things like level 1000 on Mouse Quest. Like he's such a fucking bitch. I
He just
love
talks
him.
in such a
Yeah, like he
weird
mentioned
ass way that you'd expect for some like antisocial like guy like him, someone,
yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean. The
I
whole
love the
thing,
part
just
where
an
he's
episode.
trying on new outfits and he comes out and he's like, "How
You're,
do I
look,
look,
you're
yellow
about to
man?"
tell your friend not to come to school tomorrow.
Yeah, it's so funny, like a way of doing a school shooter joke without being like so edgy about it. It's like it's so funny,
It's
the
so
whole
subtle.
fucking
It's like
thing.
the thing from the first episode where like where like fucking Tim's about to yell that like he loves kid, and then Charlie tells him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. Again, the casual exchanges are really what get me, and there's so many like just good jokes that come from that. I fucking love, by the way, when they're at the gym, Charlie's shirt just has a live action tiger on it. It doesn't make any sense. And oh my god, the scream and the visual of his like neck as he gets hit by the weight
It's
is
so good.
so good. And then oh my god, I really just love like oh my god, first of all I love the as Pims I love the tie Pim puts on that party. It's so adorable. But again, just the end resolution. Obviously, the whole funny thing of it's funny when they're like again that joke where Charlie chews about. He's like they're drinking fucking the drink they're drinking like fucking spaghetti or looking thing in like a can. Like a glass, that's really weird. But point is, again, the obvious version of oh, like it seems like it's horrible, but oh no, she actually like really likes shrimp, even if it was a misunderstanding. I do really love the part is like you've been getting over something like yeah, my like he's like yeah, my ex died or something. It's like that's such a sudden turn to take for it. That's
Mhm.
hilarious. And then I guess the I just really love the part, first of all when they're making out in the background. It's such a stupid visual of like a realistic looking human woman compared to like a shrimp. And then Charlie, he's so genuinely like baffled. He's like, oh, Pim. And then like I guess the best delivery is like, Pim, her name was Shrimpina be a shrimp. Like it's not a funny line, but the way Charlie says that is so funny. I think it's the colors. I love the way the night thing look,
Yeah,
and it caps off that one really well. I love this episode too. It's so
yeah.
good. I probably have said that for every episode, but they're all peaks. So, I'll say it for all of them because it's
Next
fucking true.
one, the Halloween one. Another one I really like. I like all of these. There's not a
Mhm.
single bad episode of the show.
Yeah,
Not one that even comes close to that. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
They're
funny.
all.
It's
Mm, yeah. This one has a special, I think. Well, not for it in my eyes, because
the
apparently
star of the
they
show is this
wanted.
one iconic moment at the end, which we'll get to soon. But yeah.
Mhm. Oh yeah, 100% an iconic joke. Fun fact about this one. I remember Michael and Zach wanted Dan Aykroyd to play the live action at the beginning of this one because you watch some of their stuff. They have a fascination with Dan Aykroyd and how he thinks. He's a really weird guy. I think I mentioned this when we did the Indiana Jones episode. The whole thing about how he's just fucking unironically thinks aliens are real and is like a conspiracy nut. He's a he's a weird ass guy. But the point is, that would have been interesting if it were him. But point is, I love the whole. This one is mainly carried by the visuals of it. There's some great things here. I
The
love
forest setting's
Alan
really
Joker.
cool.
Like that is like yeah. Oh, the setting is so cool too because a lot of it again just relies on that middle chunk is largely dependent on the visuals of Pym in the house. I love just how wholesome he is. He's like imagining his fucking future family or
Him just
whatever
like
while in the fucking
accidentally
cowboy
shooting
outfit.
Alan in the eye and him getting all pissed is really funny.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, I can again the visuals of it are just so cool. This is what I go back to a little less, but nonetheless, there is some great stuff here. How it plays with lighting and color and shading and everything. That's great. That's great. I love the whole thing. Also, wait, hold on. One more note about the shrimp episode I want to say before it's way too far after the fact. But you think the reason Pym has bad eyesight is because of the fact that his eyes aren't fully like drawn in because they're like
That'd be
squiggly.
funny. Maybe, who knows?
I hope that was intentional. That's really funny. But oh my God, the whole thing again, really just the visual of it is great. Really, it's all just the build up to that one joke, but it's a great joke, so it fucking
The
works.
whole blackface
And
demon, not cool,
hmm,
man. The
is
whole
that fucking
violent
no? I'm not black.
exaggeration
I'm an actual demon. And the way they just all tear him apart is so
is,
good.
yeah.
I love
Also,
how they just
stop
all fucking
motion
rip it.
animation goes without saying. It's really good.
Yeah, yeah. We'll bring that up more as it goes on, but fantastic use of combining mediums in this show. It's fucking awesome. I love the way the stop motion looks on him. It's great. The way he fucking looks as he's fucking tearing apart there.
Get the
And even great things
fuck
the
out,
fucking old
man.
lady. The visuals of I love a specific one, but I love the part where like at the beginning it's like picking up twigs. I love picking up twigs. The way he's animated on that is great. He's so wholesome. The boss is great too. The fucking boat and everything. It's so cool looking. I love all that. And then it's great. Some great like shot composition when they actually fucking break him apart. That and the part where Mr. Boss is like, "Oh, great job, Pim. You did great." And then he just looks just so horrified. It's amazing. I love that
Yeah.
so much. One more note for me before we move on though. There's an interesting thing here where we see two random women in here. One of them, the fucking girl in the mouse suit, is apparently Charlie's girlfriend. But what's so funny is they never directly say this or say anything about her like outside of Michael and Zach saying that she died from a bulldozer accident off screen in between seasons. But I'll get to that when we get to the fucking end of season two. And also another girl here, this fucking older woman with Glep. That's apparently supposed to be Glep's wife. And according to what Michael and Zach said on the commentary, apparently her name is Marge Simpson, but she has no relation to the actual Marge Simpson, and that's her real name, so that's how they got around copywriting that.
Uh,
That's really funny. And also, I love Charlie's speech about how the only reason he doesn't want to dress up is because he doesn't want to be canceled for something. And
yeah.
then the blackface thing brings it all around. It's a fantastic episode. Also, again, Pim is adorable. I love him and how excited he is. He's like, "You can be anything," in the fucking cowboy outfit. I love him so much for that. He is the most pure being on this planet. I
Hmm.
would protect him with my life. Anyway, salty episode. This is another one of my
I love this
favorites.
one.
Who
Yeah.
violently, yeah, who violently murders Silent Salty. This is a fucking hilarious one. Again, just right off the top, I think it's really funny. I love the part where they're getting out of that movie. It's a more natural dialogue, but I love the part where he's like, where Charlie says he doesn't like the movie. He's like, "I'll be fair here. I think the fucking assault scene was very tastefully done."
I
And then
like
Phil's like,
that
"Oh, that's the
scene
one part I
because it
didn't
does a
like."
good job at
He's
showing
violent.
their like dynamic and how like they're different from one another. Charlie just being like just a much more
Hmm.
chill, laid back employee, just kind of just not really as passionate about his job, just trying to do whatever. While Pim is much more committed and innocent and all that way. So I really like
Yeah, exactly.
that
There's
little
a great
moment.
where they play off each other. I think in a good way where I feel like a worse show would have it as, oh, Charlie Pim is so innocent and Charlie finds that annoying. But really, they're mostly on the like they are still. They make a point
They're
of they
still
are still
friends.
close friends who do like have fun put off each other. It's like it's less Charlie is annoyed at Pim and more Charlie just can't get as enthusiastic as Pim, and that is an inherently funny dynamic, I think, and I like when they play with that a lot. But yeah. Um I love the whole Salties thing here. I love the line where Charlie's like, "I've been coming here since I was a homunculus." It's such a specific word to use. Also, Full Metal Alchemist reference. But uh, again, the whole thing is another great use of live action doing the fucking salty guy and how like this commercial for all their new and approved fucking food items is the most disgusting, healthy shit imaginable. I love that. And then the fucking I love all the little eccentric guys here. The fucking ketchup guy who's a sentient ketchup packet with legs who has this fucking
Yeah.
groinily ass voice. Again, I just love when they cut to salty dead and he just looks like it's just this live action guy like dead in this fucking animated world where anything could look like any stupid thing. That's so funny. Like it's
Yeah.
amazing. I love
I think
that.
my
And then oh
favorite of
oh my god.
the guys
And,
of the I mean like in terms of the mascots is probably the fucking soda can
mhm,
guy. I like how his body is literally
mhm.
shaped like a soda can for some reason.
Yeah, I love the joke where they're talking to like Pam about it. He's like just genuinely apologetic. Like that's so funny. Also, before they even get on, I love the joke where first of all, it's so stupid. They're like, in order to even tie it into the concept of the show, they're like, Mr. Boss is like, "Oh, you gotta figure out who did it, boys." Bye. Like it's so sudden. I
Yeah,
love
he
how
just
stupid that
randomly
is. And also,
apparently
I love the joke where Pim's like, "Yeah, we're gonna have like a mystery," and he's so charming. He pulls out the fucking magnifying glass
and then
and
Charlie's
Charlie's
like, "Did you
like,
just
"Did you
bring
just
that
take
with
that
you?"
into the theater with you?"
Yeah.
Like, that's so funny.
Bro just
I
had that
love
on
that.
him for
And then
some
just
reason just in
this one
case.
keeps up a really good pace, I think, because we're very quickly going over to all of the suspects. Like, oh, did like the mustard do it? Did salt and pepper do it? Did the fucking eyeball guys do
The
it?
eyeball guys are funny. The
First of
scene where
all,
they just have
fun
this
fact:
weird ass
the
story and
yeah,
then like and then Pim somehow
yeah.
understands it for some reason.
Mm. I love the part. Yeah, that's it's so funny where they explain the whole fucking gibberish thing, which is very well animated. And Charlie just so off the cuffly, so casually, it's hilarious. He goes, "Pim, how did you understand any of that?" Like it's so funny. I love it. It's actually so good. And then the fucking first of all, the what I want to bring up is the fucking grease stain. Zach and Michael wanted him to be played by Chris Chan, which
Oh,
you can kind of see. You can hear that it's sort of a Christian impression when you realize that much. But
I don't know much about. I don't know
also it's
anything
just
about
like
Chris
I
Chan at all.
remember
Besides that, besides like
I
seeing
remember
him in the
the main
Stranger
thing is I
Stuff.
think one was just they couldn't get on too many guest stars. Two, they wanted it to be a secret, and Chris Chan will literally talk about anything because he has such a lack of a social life. So it's like and the third is also by the time they were getting full gears going on Smiling Friends, Chris Chan got outed as a incest like guy. So you know what? Not a good move to have him in your fucking Adult Swim show.
Good
So
thing they
that was
couldn't.
that guy.
Good thing they couldn't
Mm.
get him. That would have
Yeah,
aged
yeah. The point is, just
incredibly
there's a lot
bad.
of great bits here. I love the part where I the part imply that mustard was like really sensual and really horny when it's like what was salty fucking a mustard packet with like tits? That's so
It's so
stupid.
fucking
I
weird.
love that. Also, also I love salt and peppers for just how like actually wholesome it is. They're like, oh, I was like, oh yeah, we just like we spend all the time kissing each other, and then they do the thing. I love that it's just genuine nice. They don't undercut it. Charlie's like, that's just straight up beautiful, by the way, and then he smiles
Him
like,
just
that's
watching
a
is
great
the
bit. I give it all
funniest
for the
moment.
simple visual of it. It's really funny. And the all end resolution is so okay.
How many
I love this
fucking
is a
people killed this
secret
guy?
room. Yeah, oh, that's great too. It's so like they keep rewinding the tape, and the conclusion is, oh well, I guess all of you murderers can get away scot
And then they
free
just go out,
because
destroy
not
fucking property because they think they're
yeah,
free now.
exactly. It's so funny how they all can just technically get away with it. Like that. That's so stupid. I love that
And
whole
like the
ending. It's so
twist that none
funny.
of them
I just
actually murdered them. He just died from
Yeah,
natural,
exactly. It's
like
so
for
funny.
his own.
That's another one where that's one of the jokes where I prefer it uncensored because the whole thing of Smiling Friends you can actually watch both censored and uncensored because that's not a unique thing to the show, but I've seen both because some piracy sites have the censored versions that aired on Adult Swim. Some have the ones like on Max where all the swears are are able to be heard, and that's fine. Honestly, I'm like all right with either or, but in this episode, I think like the way Charlie says, "How many people fucking kill this guy?" The soul off the cuff is amazing, and yeah, I just some more quick notes before we move on for this one. I love the fucking like century egg actually being a thing there, and they fucking
I like how
that
he
pays
just
off in the post
wakes
credits scene.
up
But they,
while he's about to die, and
Mhm.
just to remind him that he was
Yeah.
checking the wrong drawer. That was
Yeah,
funny.
exactly. And then it's just so funny how one, the in loving memory of being salty, that's funny. But then the post credits, I didn't see this one on first viewing, but the fact that they bury the egg and they
Oh
go
yeah.
all this way, all four of them, even though Alan and Glup aren't in this episode, and Charlie just fucking eats the egg anyway. That's so funny. Also, apparently, there's on the commentary for this one, Michael and Zach are talking about how they're during this is a secret room, which is a greatly animated bit. They talk about the fact that they've seen a Pym X Charlie ship edit of that scene where they kiss, and then they go, "Oh, we should have put that in the episode," and I think that's funny. They're such goofy little lads, Michael and Zach. Also, by the way, I'm just gonna bring this up now because I don't have a natural time to otherwise. On the Smiling Friends Blu-ray, which I will plug because I want season two to get a Blu-ray really badly. But on the Smiling Friends Blu-ray, they Michael and Zach literally make fun of the viewer for not pirating it,
Yeah,
and
I
that's really
saw
funny to
that
me.
somewhere.
But,
Yeah, I thought that was really funny.
yeah, they name drop an actual piracy site too. That's the hilarious thing. It's great. I love that whole thing. But that's about it on Salty. Another great one, but the whole song and dance.
Yeah.
Enchanted Forest is one that I'm less hot on, but is still really good. I'm
It's
gonna let
funny.
you
I
take the
like.
reins of this
I
one
think
a little
Charlie
bit.
once again. I think Charlie might be one of my favorite. Might be my favorite character, but he's like the star of the show here. Him just like. I think he's just like. There's something very funny about him here. Like the whole thing with him
Oh,
entering this
100%.
enchanted forest and like him being summoned on this epic quest to go and like try and make a princess smile along with Pim, who really wants to go on this type of fantasy adventure. And at first, he just, doesn't give a shit at all. He just wants to fucking leave because he finds it, stupid that he's just like going on this generic ass enchanted forest thing where it's just like, it's just him and Pim just chilling in the forest just to find a princess. And it's like a parody of a lot of those stupid fantasy adventures that Pim is a big fan of, while Charlie, being the laid back self that he usually is, ends up kind of like being against it. And I think as a result that leads to just a very funny dynamic there. And yeah, a lot to like with it's a great episode. I like how everything connects together with when it comes to Charlie's little arc thing with just going for not really an arc, just him going for this journey in the forest. It's a fun idea for an episode, and them meeting this guy named uh what was his name? His name was Mip. His name was Mip
Me, Nick?
from
Yeah,
the Hobbit.
yeah. Mm. What all the myth is his name is literally Pim backwards. That's so stupid.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know how I didn't notice that. Yeah,
yeah, I love him because that's another example of Smiling Friends really getting the style right. Like it was exactly like the fucking the Rankin Bass Hobbit stuff. They were really
exactly. They nailed
eyeing
that
for
style
getting.
really well.
Yeah, but anyway, I had to dip for a second, so I don't know if there was anything you mentioned that I didn't. But I love so many of the jokes in this thing. Fucking the witch thing is so good where there's like the fucking there's the thing where she's like shows up and she does this very specific thing And then it's just like he's like, I love Charlie's just so very off the cuff, very
Him walking
genuine.
through the
This
forest
is
and
the
then
most
people like
obnoxious thing
ask him
I've
for
seen in
these
my
questions.
life.
He's like, no.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just so
Mm.
pissed off. It's so funny.
Yeah, this is the most obnoxious thing I've seen in my life. And then when he wakes up tied up, that very raw, oh, we were
Right
right
there,
there,
man.
man. Like, it's so funny, honestly. I love Charlie so much. And
Yeah.
then the fucking that's when Mip shows up, and this leads to the whole main conceit of the episode where Charlie is doing all this adventure stuff while Pim isn't, and there's a like self-conscious thing about that. Another like literally another iconic thing from literally the first like 2 minutes, the flashback where it's like you kiss your dad on the mouth, like that's so good. And
Such a
then the
another like a lot of moments in this show, based off of just the very like obviously improv dialogue that I appreciate a ton, by the way.
yeah,
A lot of funny
yeah,
moments
exactly.
come from that, and that, like it also leads to a lot of intentionally awkward moments that just can occur through casual conversation. So I think the show
Oh,
definitely does that well.
100%. It's magnificent, really. There's just so much good bits of that. And there's one I think I have a little less to say about. I like the montage. I mainly
The
just love
ending
how
twist is really
deformed.
funny.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. I love the idea that again, this is another one where the smile comes from just horrible violence because the smile comes from, oh yeah, this person is definitely like dead now, and it's like apparently whole thing came from it was a supposedly a satire on fucking the stalker of singer Bjork. I know you don't know who that is, and I only barely know who this person is. But the point is, this person was really upset that I think tried like like bombing or try to actually doing like the thing fucking Mip is shown to be doing here, and it was like a
Jesus.
yeah. So
Damn.
it's like the whole point of the whole point of that whole thing is I think it's really funny in that sense. And then just the fucking I love Pim's like whole degradal where he's so like pissed and angry about Charlie
Him
leaving him
becoming
alone.
Golem.
And yeah, literally, it's so funny. I literally at the end he's so funny. I love how his fucking black squigglies turn to red. It's so funny. The way he's just so like skinny and disheveled. Another great animation bit. I'll
Also, the
always
weird
compliment
ass
those.
tension
And
that forms between Mip and Charlie.
it
What the
is yeah,
fuck?
exactly. It's so funny. Just the
It's
fucking
so
odd
fucking
ass
bizarre
looking.
and comes out of nowhere, but like it's just funny. And then
Hmm.
him fucking dying after that scene is enough. Is also funny. Yeah, great episode. That's pretty much all I gotta
Then
say.
after he
Visuals
dies,
are
he just
good. Visuals in the
yeah.
forest was
Although
good.
then after Mip dies, he just kind of decomposes into mush. Like that's so
Yeah,
funny.
like a fucking
Like,
demon.
yeah,
Maybe
that's great.
that's why he was such a
And also
stalker.
one more note. I love the after credit scene for this one where Charlie's come down with some sort of sickness, and you just see him like green and puffed up. I honestly,
Hmm.
on my first viewing of season one, I missed the after credits for this and the salty episode. So when I finally got to that, I was like, "Oh shit, this is new Smiling Friends I've never seen." It's a great joke though, where he's like trying to talk about how he just walked it off. He's like,
Yeah.
tries to paint it so casually, even though he's literally dying. Like that. That's amazing. I love him so much.
Yeah.
Frowning Friends is next, and
Oh my
this
god, this one is
is
so fucking
one of my
good.
favorites. I
I
adore
agree.
this episode. First of all, just immediately from the top, it has the fucking Renaissance Men bit, which is I remember.
The
It's
Renaissance
funny
men
the
are
way
dope.
that happened. Ironically, happened really similarly to how it happened in the actual episode because remember Zach and Michael, the Frowning Friends episode was a horrible one to actually like write. It was one of the ones that they had the most trouble with. But the whole thing was they're trying to come. Oh, we need this opening conversation. It was going to be like some other thing, and then eventually, I think one time, like Zach or Michael, one of them brought up the Renaissance Men actually happening. Is like, what is he the Renaissance Man? Is like, yeah, and from there, that became the way they talk about it in the episode, which is a great way of like, I think that's really cool how that comes across, and the concept is just so genuinely funny. The
Them
idea
like
of
I
like,
love
oh,
yeah,
like they're
it's a great moment. The
mm,
dialogue really shines with them like constantly like with them interrupting each other. Like you can't even really picture them in the like fucking recording booth, Just yeah.
mm,
It works well.
exactly. It's so damn natural, and that's what I think is
And it
really,
makes the comedic moments
really
land
important.
really well. Like seeing these, wacky cartoon characters kind of speaking like genuine human beings and like having these very typical
Mhm.
conversations is really funny.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I and then just from there that builds up. I love the the Frowning Friends thing is so funny because it's the most exaggerated. Like you have cartoon episodes where kind of the trope is, oh, we have a doppelganger version of
Oh yeah,
ourselves,
those episodes. And this one's
and
kind of
that's,
making fun of
the
that.
whole thing. It's a general idea. I'll bring them more when we get to season two. But Smiling Friends has this great thing where they'll take a usual archetype or a very generic cartoon trope, and they'll kind of just like they'll flip it on its head and add some sort of subversion because it's Smiling Friends. Shrimp's Odyssey is the main one I can think of with that one. Oh, it's a generic. Oh, we gotta like help like a guy get a girl. Except in this time the whole twist is like the whole like shrimp thing. It's so stupid. Salty murder mystery. The twist is no one murdered anyone. Enchanted Forest, a nice little adventure episode. Oh, like they're all insane. And this one is the same thing where it's like they do that doppelganger thing, but they push it so far that quite literally the doppelganger versions are named Grim
And
and
gnarly.
Gnarly. And the fucking Frowning Friends headquarters is a blue frown.
It's
That's
so
so stupid.
stupid, and I feel and the episode's incredibly aware of that. Like just like the scenes where they're like trying to be like talking shit, and then like they start laughing, and then Charles like that's not even a real laugh. Yeah,
I
it's
love
it's
that. It's
great. It's
so
like I
good.
love how they
Um,
make fun of this like generic as hell trope. You know, the fucking
oh,
I can't even take
100%.
this
It's
in
so
no
good.
more, man. That might be one of
Yeah,
the
yeah. Oh my God. There's so
funniest.
many good just
That's one of my
animation
favorite
moments in
jokes
this.
of the entire show, if
Mm,
I'm being honest.
yeah. Oh my God.
You're trying to
Yeah, there's so
explain
many
to me,
good bits in
man.
this. I love the part. Yeah, I love the part where they. I love that guy so much, but I love the part where they walk in on Mr. Boss doing DDR,
Oh
and
my
then
God,
he
Mr.
like
Boss is
gets
so fucking funny in this one.
he's so good at this, but yeah, we'll get like his just derangement is great. But I love the part where Pim runs out and Charles like, I just that startled me. I didn't expect. Like, again, it's a really natural off the cuff reaction. It's really funny. But then yeah, then there's all the DJ Spitz thing. You're out of my head, man. It's so
Get out
funny.
of my
I love
head.
the
I
fact that
forgot he had a name.
and then
Yeah.
the tooth guy that come to after like same thing
And then he
again.
just turns
That's just
into the
great.
DJ.
It's so
Like,
stupid.
and
Mm,
then the
I love that
fucking
so
gun and
much.
the
It's
reaction to
just
him holding the gun with the, once again, the signature scream that makes so many moments in this show land. Amazing.
Oh, 100%. And then after this is the fucking I love 3D Squelton. He's just cuz like I love how
Boo
his
hoo. Boo
face is
hoo.
like
The way he
3D
talks is
Squelton
also really
hates
fun.
flies. But I love the way his face is just fucking flat. Like bro's got that pancake grill. What the fuck? But yeah, oh my God, that thing is so funny. And then I love the way this whole line is delivered. Let me see if I can get the exact. But it's so funny. It's like, but did you know that all of the world's helium is running out and will be depleted in the next 20 to 30 years?
And then they
And the
find out
funniest
that
thing
it's
about that,
true.
and the funniest thing is when Charlie looks it up and says it's actually true. You like actually can look up the stats, and that does line up, which is really funny. Like to think like that they had to come up with a very specific punish like a thing for them to be cynical about, and that thing just so happened to be that. Like it's so stupid. Like like it's oh my God, it's
In the fucking
very
scene
very funny to me.
with them like getting this rally up, and then he's saying nothing matters because we're all gonna die, and him just
Oh,
getting
I
so
love how much that
passionate.
people use. I love the way people use that clip because it's used whenever people need like a fucking example of like why nihilism is stupid. The whole thing is so I love that. I love how in that clip they're like Alan's just like they said that, like there's like better benefits for the other side. Like Alan and Gleb just immediately go over.
They had a
It's
better
so funny. And
401k.
the
That's
part
what
they're
it's.
playing all this dramatic stuff and they're like, "Oh, look, don't look, Charlie." And then Charlie's like, "That's it. I've seen worse stuff on the internet." Like it's so funny. Like really great way to show they're like again contrasting perspectives again. And then the part where they just like kind of immediately refute. But it's so great because it really is representative of that kind of people where they're like, "Wah, nothing matters. Life sucks. Never appreciate anything good you have in your life." I hate those people, and it's why I fucking hate nihilism as a concept. But that's like a existential quandrum that should not be discussed in the middle of a Smiling Friends podcast. But it does create a great joke where he's so passionate, so riled up, even though he might just be using it to eradicate the Puerto Rican population. We do not know. But and then
Yeah.
just the immediate switch from that to just oh no 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 no, he's just on
Mr.
the floor. He
Boss's
literally pissed
insanity is so
himself.
funny. I like how he first hears about this
Mhm.
while he's playing Dance Dance Revolution for some reason. I also love
Mm.
I also like how there are times where Mr. Boss can talk like incredibly calm and like natural, but then you see him do this like wacky persona thing, but then when he talks differently casually, you know what I mean? It's very
Well,
funny.
so the thing is, I think it's a good thing to have because also, as much as it is funny to be like, oh, the boss is just some insane guy, on some level, you don't understand why he is the boss of smiling. And, he actually, this is one of the times like you see that the boss made someone smile, and that's like, aw.
Yeah.
He made, that's why he's the boss, damn it.
Him also
He's the
losing his
GOAT, the
sanity is
legend.
also displayed in a very funny way with him just
Oh,
abs
I love the way he like twitches out. He's so just baffled and shocked.
fuck,
It's fantastic.
genius. Why didn't I
Uh,
think of that?
mm, Yeah, it's so
I love
funny.
this show
And
so
then
much, man. This is like my second
yeah,
favorite
I know,
episode of
right?
this season, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And there's some more quick bits before the episode before we move on to the next one. There's a couple great dialogue bits I think are really funny. I love the part where to get out of it, Charles like, well, technically only Pym said some stuff as like trying to refute him. I
Like,
love it
damn.
when the guy starts like when the crowd like when they're all against him now and they're always like kinda cringe. And then the one guy goes, I actually wanted to kill the Puerto Ricans. Like, what? It's such
Damn.
an out of pocket thing to say. That's wild. Again, just carried by the casual delivery. And then the Renaissance man actually coming up, and that's why they get shot. That is such a funny end resolution. I don't know how they came up with it, but it's so good. Like, really, bro? Like, come on. It's just so goofy. I love it so much.
Hmm.
And then the fucking way it ties around the actual like they have a similar conversation at the end that kind of bookends it. It's so funny. I love. I just genuinely like pissed both of them are. Again, smiling friends, casual conversations contrasted with everything else is fantastic, and yeah, love that. But anyway, fantastic episode. Charlie dies and doesn't come back is a
Another one of my
iconic Christmas
favorites,
special.
yeah.
I have I've talked about this one before with my friend Josh on our Christmas thing we did one time. Hashtag shameless plug. But regardless, I think this episode is really, really cool. I love it's such a superficial compliment, but it's always been like a stupid pleasure of like when we're in a Christmas episode, like, oh my god, all the characters are wearing their winter outfits. Look at them. Whoa. And with this like, oh I love Pim's like little sweater, he's adorable. And Alan wears a hat, Gleb wears a hat, Charlie wears a little hat. It's fun. I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. But point is, this opens with a great scene where there's the opening. They get sent out to get the tree, but then Charlie and Pym just have a genuine argument about their perspectives and how Pym's kind of sick of Charlie being so pessimistic and so, hey, Charlie, why are you such a downer all the time, man? And it is this unironically, I think, really good scene just kind of like, damn, like
Just having
it's
that
kind of true,
genuine
really, because
argument, and I think it works.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
another,
it's one of those ones where yeah, another one where like I've had arguments with friends casually like that, and it's never like big and dramatic like they try to portray it. In this, it's genuinely just kind of raw in a way that you don't really get from a lot of things. I think it's really interesting the how they kind of so portray that so casually, and it makes sense because like Pim's not even yelling. Is like, yo, Charlie, you could be a little, you could stand to be less of a downer. And like Charlie naturally retorts with the Desmond thing. And it's like, this is how people talk. It's so natural. I love it. And it's also in a show where a bunch of stupid shit happens. Like the best of both worlds. It's so good. But then I love the fucking part where Charlie's chopping down the tree. He's like, oh, am I doing stuff now? Is this retroactive now? You get to see the little like paranoia and twitch on Pim's eyes. It's so well animated. And then on Charlie too. And there's the immediate crush. And that's great. The part where he actually is dying is great. You can see there's a bunch of visuals of random shit for a little bit. You can see this is the also second time Mike Stacklasa is there because he's like a little frame. So is James Rolfe, and this is the last time one of the last things Gilbert Godfrey was in before his
yeah.
death. So So, R.I.P. Really tragic, ultimately.
The
But
the hell visual being
I
frozen was
love.
good. I like the stuff with fucking Charlie and the little like devil guy and Jeremy and how that comes back later with him getting so genuinely pissed off. Like the scene where he like
Yeah,
offends him and he takes it like incredibly personally and starts crying is so
I love
funny.
the fucking squiggly arms guy who does the thing. He's like, if you do that again, I will punch you.
And then
And then
like
they
comes
actually pay
back
that off when
later.
it comes back. Yeah, and he's like, I said I would do it, man. It's so good. Also,
Yeah.
the design is specific, but I love the design of the one guy who he kind of looks like Skibbity Toilet, the fucking guy who has his
Oh
permanent
my
mouth
god,
open,
yeah.
all the teeth. Yeah, but he honestly does, honestly. And then the Hell song was great, even though it reminds me of the Christmas Time and Hell song from South
South
Park.
Park, yeah.
So that's it. Yeah, yeah. But again, the visuals are great. I love the joke where Charlie's talking to his fucking grandma about the whole thing, and he's like,
Like Kirsten
"Oh, why
said,
you here, grandma?"
damn.
I was like, he said, "Yeah, yeah." Kirsten said, "Damn," when my husband got shot in the head. So I was like, "That's stupid." But again, the visuals while the song's going on is great. I love the way he kind of traverses around. There's a lot of episodes in Smiling Friends that really just let the animation take focus, and one of the things I really appreciate because sometimes I feel like I sound like a nerd describing these things. But character posing and character animation is one of my favorite things to discuss with stuff because just the way something is animated, you kind of take it for granted, but the way a certain action is done can make it a million of a difference, and I think that should be appreciated more. And I'm really glad this show does a lot of that because I really appreciate it a lot, a lot. And in this is another building of styles. We got CG Satan. It's really funny because you
He's
can
so
actually see like a
funny.
realistic version. First of all, I love that you can see like a realistic looking version of Discord in the back. That's really funny to me. Like you get the exact of what it
And
would
just the
look
way he
like.
talks, like you see Satan, like the comedy comes from seeing this giant figure Satan, and then you just see him doing this like just talking in this very like calm sense about his issues and him being a bit of a Discord mod in some way. And then like there's
Yeah.
something really funny about him, and then him getting all pissed at Charlie when he tries to call him out on being lazy and avoiding his personal issues and it's so good. That
Mm.
entire
Yeah.
scene
So
is like
I love the
one of
stupid conclusion.
it's one of
I
my
love the stupid
favorite scenes
conclusion
in the
when it comes
show.
to yeah, whereas like where like he gets hurt, the Satan hurts him. He's like, oh well, that made you smile. Like what a fucking way to work around that, man. Like that's so silly. I still love when the guy drops off the fucking Uber Eats like equivalent and the salty's bag, and he's like,
You're just right there,
it's
right?
just like
It's just such a
he just
funny
genuinely
casual
doesn't fucking.
conversation for Satan to have with this regular
Yeah,
delivery
exactly. And
guy.
also it's also a funny implication joke because how the fuck did the like delivery guy get there? Does he transport the hell? Like
Was he
that's really
already
funny.
in hell? What was going on there? Uh,
Also, it implies that Charlie is immoral enough to be in hell this whole episode, which I
oh
think is
yeah,
really funny.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
I think about it.
yeah. But anyway, also I love it. Like the little Satan guy is just the tiny like red version of the Blibblies from the Desmond episode. I think that's really funny.
Oh
It's
yeah,
literally just them, but reversed it. And then I love that God is Gilbert God. Oh, that's why they got
Gilbert
him. I just
Godfrey.
realized that.
Ah, I just noticed that.
Yeah, oh my God, it took me way too long to realize that. Oh my God,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why.
Same, same.
That's so funny. But yeah, boys, they bring him up. Okay, I love the bosses like the wedding speech.
The wedding song, I love that.
Charlie.
What does it
Well,
mean?
well,
Him just saying it at the
yeah,
funeral and then
God,
everyone just being emotionally
yeah,
moved by it is so funny.
yeah, and then Charlie coming out. I love the part. It's a good mixture of what I love shows doing, where something's genuinely funny and also like sincere. First of all, I think Dave from Dave Land is here, and I don't even know why. Like he's one of the guys in the background that doesn't even make sense. Was Charlie gets splashed back? I love that for some reason he let like all of his goop splashes out of that like reforms to one person, and then the boss has that stupid shocked face, but Pim's like, "Oh Charlie, you're back. I miss you," and he's like fucking hugging and like bleeding and shit, and it's just like it's like and it's like sweet because like their friendship is so nice, but also it's like Charlie's paranoid that Pim might touch his dick, and this part is like recreate a sort of portrait like thing, and I love that fucking Gulep
Gleb tells
is
this, he's
apparently
telling the
reading this
story
like
and
his
saying
child.
Christianity was
Yeah,
actually real.
yeah, and that's great. I love the whole thing. Merry Christmas. Which is an
Well,
interesting thing to note. The show has not aired a single holiday episode on the holiday because season one all dropped in January, and even though season two was weekly, none of those weeks coincided with fucking weeks of
mhm.
holidays. So what do you do? But I don't really care. And I guess we could call it the end of season one here because I always considered the Brazil special sort of the middle point. But we'll talk about that and then we'll give our season one overalls and then go to season two. The Smiling
Yeah.
Friends Go to Brazil would drop the summer of 2022.
Mhm.
And the whole joke of the episode was they hyped it as this big thing of, oh, look, the Smiling Friends are going to Brazil. But uh-oh, they were actually in the fucking they were in they couldn't book a hotel the entire time. Bwah, bwah. Which is kind of a lame joke, but also I think it's pretty funny. I love how much like they exaggerate that first conversation where they're like, "Oh no, we're doing great. We have this whole thing going, this whole like thing,"
Yeah, I
and
like
then
this
and then they're like,
episode quite a bit. I don't think I
yeah,
like it as much. I don't like it as much as you do, but I think I almost respect it. Like it definitely shows off what I like about this show in certain cases, and how it's all like they're showing off a lot of this great improv and just like genuine dialogue, and it's clear that these characters are just fun enough in terms of their interactions and just their overall dynamics. Uh, so
mhm.
far, like especially between Pim and Charlie specifically, and I think Alan and Gleb have been serving their purpose well. We can go in, but I think Alan just does more next season. But
Oh,
yeah,
100% he does.
yeah. But
But
like
even
I
still in
still
this one,
think
I
all
think
their
he's a
interactions, they all feel like genuine friends and whatnot for a while. You get that and there's a lot of fun
Yeah, I think a
dialogue
lot
and
of
jokes with that.
the dialogue feeling natural needs to be sold by the fact that these are characters you can actually have a dynamic bouncing off each other
Exactly.
with. But I do think the whole thing here is great. I love the casual, like, oh, like, it is so naturally done, which the Smiling Friends always does, but to have a full episode of like that is hilarious. The other part was
Hmm.
like, oh, I think you got to take it. I thought Alan did, but
You
it's like,
you a
did you book the
Taurus?
hotel?
You a Taurus?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And this
That
whole
was
thing is,
funny.
yeah. First of all, one thing that's the cool thing is to pay attention to the backgrounds in this episode because there's so much shit they pack in just like the long take shot. There's one guy who's like this fucking blue looking Bart Simpson who comes by when they're at the escalator that I'm gonna note because I think
Yeah.
that guy looks really funny. But on the whole thing, I just love the escalation. How they're like so sincerely like this. I love when they bring the boss into it because this is
And
the
then you
one
get this
time
once
the
again
actual
another awkward phone call. It's really good.
yeah, but the funny thing is, this is one of the only times the boss talks like an actual person
Yeah,
does,
I
and it's
like
for
I
this
said, I pointed
extremely
that out
specific
earlier. There's like
thing.
a great contrast
But
between the boss, like, you can tell when he's taking something seriously and he's like being, genuine, and then you could see him like his whole wacky nature and whatnot. I feel like it's
yeah,
funny
yeah,
when we
exactly.
see this more like tame side of him, and as a result, it's just funny.
It's yeah, it's very entertaining, no doubt. I think it's really, really interesting. I guess it's so awkward the way they like go about it. And honestly, I just think this is one of my favorites from the show personally. I just think it's like that whole thing is really, really funny. The whole thing of like it's like and it's just fun to listen to. Honestly, I'm a sucker for episodes. I think you just get to hear a bunch of natural, uninterrupted dialogue. That's why Free Churro is one of my favorite BoJack episodes, even if it has a stupid ending. But that whole there's a certain appeal to it that I really like, and it's really it makes it really fun to watch. Just the
Hmm.
genuine like disappointment in everyone, the actual coordination. It's really funny, and it's topped up by the fact that the second they leave, a fucking plane crashes hitting an island. So that's perfect. I love that. Love that whole thing.
Yeah.
And there's this one joke that they bring this up in the commentary, but Zach and Michael are like Pim didn't forgot to pay for the fries. So in their head canon, Pim ran back 2 minutes later to pay the check and then ran back. That I think that's really funny. To imagine that.
That's
And yeah,
funny to
that's
think
great.
about.
And that is all of Smiling Friends season
Season
one.
one.
I
It's a good
Season
good
one
first
is a
season.
very high nine for me. I love every episode. I think it is some of the most creative stuff modern television has done. And there is still another season. I think there's
Yeah,
even
I
better
also
to
give
go.
it
So
also given it that 9 too. But speaking of that second
Mhm.
season, let's just get right into it. And
Yeah,
I
and on
don't
season
think.
2, this was one I was curious about in part because point is they teased it and they're like new smiling friends on April 1st, and I was like, okay, Adult Swim is very famously known for their April Fool's tricks. One time they aired The Room all day. One time they aired a new episode of Rick and Morty, but also aired that new episode of Rick and Morty all day. One time they aired Moral Oral Grounded before the rest of season 3 as a joke. I hate that one. And one time they just did stupid shit. Like they aired the Aqua Teen movie, but muted and like in while other programs were playing and static in the corner of the screen because they were like playing around in theaters. I love Adult Swim. April Fool's prank is very funny. But the point is, there was a high likelihood it would have been like 10 seconds of the new Smiling Friends, and then like it's just like, well, what, like a parody for the entire day. Instead, what happened was their April Fool's joke was they dropped a couple things. There was well, I think it was just all the not only a puppet version of one episode, but all three. Mr. Frog, Shrimps Odyssey, and Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back got
Yeah, I saw all
special
of those.
puppet
I thought they were
episodes,
really
and
funny.
those don't have much to talk about with them, but I think they're all very
I
funny.
think what's
I
a
love
good thing to appreciate it is I love the puppetry and I like how they switch up the style for each of the three episodes they remade.
Oh, 100%. But what makes it even funnier is that there's literally a different one for all of them. I
Hmm.
really like that. I think that's really
My favorite
interesting
was the
how,
style they did for Mr. Frog, the Frog one. But regardless,
yeah.
the
Oh,
other ones were
they're all
so
great.
funny.
I love the Mr. Frog puppet because Charlie has like four eyes on both
Yeah, I
sides. Like,
love that
four.
detail. You know.
Yeah, it's so good. And then it enhances a lot of the joke because a lot of it comes from the absurdity of it. And in certain episodes, like the shrimp episode, it's funnier when it's a fucking like actual woman making out with a fucking sock puppet. Like that's
It looks
hilarious.
even
And
dumber
then
than
the
it did
fucking
in that
and then the
episode.
Charlie one is like even stupider. Like I love all three for how stupid their visual representations are. The show is one of the stupidest things ever, and that's why I love it. The point is, we actually did get one episode only for the actual season to air in May, which I was fucking holding over. I was so excited for the season to finally start airing. And we got the first episode, Gwimbly Definitive Remastered Enhanced Extended Edition DX 4K
Very
Anniversary
has a
Director's
ring
Cut.
to it, indeed.
Yeah, exactly.
This
The
one might
Gwimbly
be my
episode,
favorite episode of the show, if I'm being
honestly,
honest.
I can see it. I fucking adore
There are three
the Gwimbly
characters
episode.
here who are genuinely just so fucking funny. Like I love these like side characters in general. The season introduces so many funny characters in each episode that it genuinely was like God. Like there are so many funny like
Season two,
yeah
I think immediately off the bat, adds a lot to the show because I feel like now we're bringing in some new character dynamics. We're shifting some stuff around where it's not just gonna be Pim and Charlie doing it around. This time, our boy Alan is getting a thing with Pim, which leads to a great gut where he goes, "Yay, up him and Alan adventure." I love the way he's animated there. He's so smooth. Love it. But point is, this episode I think really doubles in that because then Charlie's on his own, which leads to his own plot, which is so stupid, which I'll get into in a sec. But the whole
oh my God,
Gwimbly
I love
thing
that
is
plot.
Gwimbly took over the world for like a month, and this is a whole thing I have about. Well, I really appreciate that they split this show up and let them air weekly because if it dropped all
Yeah,
in one breath like season one, I then all the discussion would be chopped in half, and no episode would get room to breathe like all these did. I
yeah,
really appreciate that.
definitely.
That's a
And you'd
whole.
have you
That,
also have it was also nice having something to be excited about every week and whatnot. That's what I
Exactly. I was
appreciate with a
looking
lot
forward
of
to
TV
every new
shows.
Monday.
Exactly.
Mondays are kind of ass, but every time I was like excited because Smiling Friends is coming out this Monday, so it's not all bad. But I love it so much. The point
Mhm.
is, Gwimbly Definitive Remastered, Enhanced, Extended, whatever. I'm not gonna say that title every time. This introduced the character of Gwimbly, who I love because it's such an annoying thing when you get shows that do fucking video game parodies and it's the most like stupid ass looking 8-bit character or something like, oh, this vaguely looks like an 8-bit Mario sprite, but no, because the creators actually know their shit. we have a character who looks exactly like what the PS1 Nintendo 64 generation of sprites look like,
He's very
and it's just way more
similar to
convincing. It
something
looks
like
really
Gex, if you think about it. So,
exactly like that generation of like I think Gex was a direct parallel I thought of in terms of that type of mascot that
and
Gwimbly's clearly trying to parody. Where, after Mario 64, you had to have your own big video game like mascot in the 90s generation, especially like well just Mario in general. Like Sonic was one. It was like, oh, what about Bubsy? What about fucking Earthworm Jim? What about Gex? What about Croc? Like a lot of those fucking obscure ones. And Gimli is the perfect personification of that. I love his voice, that it sounds kind of like distorted and pixelated to fit that. I love the I love how it's just like the first thing you see of him is recording a cameo, which by the way ties into the plot because he goes, "Hey, James from Idaho, a little birdie told me it was your birthday."
yeah.
And you find out that the guy in Charlie's B plot is the James
I
from
need to talk about
Idaho.
that because
Like,
that is
mm,
so funny. You get this random guy who for most of the episode we don't even know who the hell he is. He just enters the place like he owns it, and then he just pulls up the Smiling Friends Constitution and he's like, "You have to do everything I say." And then he
mm,
does something that I find hilarious and just abuses the power that he
mm,
has over like Charlie, and then it's
mm.
just so funny. He just
It's
like
so good. I
that
love
mess
it
on the
so
ground
much.
isn't helping me smile. Like him just just the pure anger and disdain he shows. Like he rips off Charlie's nose at some point. He yells in pain. Hilarious moment right
Mm.
there. You see him on
Oh,
the
but I love that
phone.
part because he has this like he's so genuine. Like, please, man, I'm trying to sing. Please,
You
I
feel
hate all
bad
this.
for him,
And,
but it's
and,
also really funny at the same time
yeah,
because it's
and
like
he just fucking pulls up, and his excuse is, "I couldn't focus because of your big nose." And then just the scream that he lets out is so
and then
funny.
just see the scene where
Well,
he's calling someone, and then he just tries to get his attention and just starts making fun of him. Also, just the image of Charlie without his nose is just really funny. It's like the
Oh,
whole thing with
100%.
just him
So funny.
abusing this. It's like a good concept for an episode, and there's just like, him being such an asshole. It's just there's something so funny about how petty he is and just how like
Mm.
desperate he is for this attention in some way, being this also the fact that he's just like such a grown ass buff man just waltzing into this place randomly. It's so funny.
Yeah, exactly. It's so good. His design reminds me of the fucking tooth guy from
Oh
the
yeah,
Frowning
yeah,
Friends
it's kind of
episodes.
similar
That's
to
really
that.
cool. I think they were implied to be the same guy, so that's cool, I think. But yeah, yeah. The
The
again, I just another
CEO is
thing with
so funny as well.
oh my God, I love him so much. I love his stupid dialect. He has such a specific way of
Fucking him
talking that it's
dipping
so
everything in
fun.
chicken nuggets. Also, similar to something like Mr. Frog, it almost like commentates on another thing, in a lot of ways, commentating on like
Mhm.
how companies kind of like a lot of video game companies, specifically Nintendo, keep these random properties and don't really do much with them, and then just at times they just kind of throw them into like other games like like Super Smash Bros. Like they don't use the character in terms of making new games, but they throw them into another game with other characters when, sure they're overshadowed, but they're still in the game, and it made for a pretty funny ending.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love the first of all, I get another visual bit where I love how over exaggeratively Pim's like, "Oh, Ellen, I love you," and then you cut to Charlie with his nose ripped out. He's like, "Guys, this was not fun for me at all." Like, it's so stupid. I love that
It
whole
pretty much
thing.
like combines so much I like about this show in terms
Hmm.
of like how it like makes fun of certain things and how it's like creative and
Hmm.
in terms of like that Smiley Friends. I love when they switch up that animation style, which
Oh,
was shown a
100%.
lot this season.
And I
So
think
yeah.
Wembley is one of the best examples of that. Like, especially, I love when they bring in his old like fucking video game, like the like his like rival from the games, and he's like has a fucking domesticated home life,
Yeah.
and then the dramatic like cut to the death of a character, and his name is Mister Millipede, like That is so stupid.
He also
I
taught like
actually love him.
America had like a series. I forgot the exact line, but it was like talking about a drug issue in America. And just seeing this
He's like,
wacky character
I
talking
think it was
about
like
that is so funny.
he's like America has like a like a fuck fetish or something. It's so funny, and oh my god, there's so much good stuff here. You mentioned the Mr. Frog comparison, which I definitely thought of the same thing of, oh, we got to bring back an iconic star back to life. And at first I thought I was like, is this too similar to Mr. Frog? But I'm like,
To be
nah,
honest, I
nah,
highly disagree
this
with
is
that because
good.
it's like a
Like,
completely
I think it
different
makes
thing.
enough of a good difference that it has a great commentary on that whole thing of it's my IP to sit on and do nothing, but that
Nothing,
whole
but
idea of this type of how many franchises that like fan works and shit will be deleted, but you can't make anything of it on its own. The most you'll get is a fucking skin if you kiss my nugget. And of course, there's a I swear to God, if I have my Grimbley gun on me right now, like it's so good,
yeah.
so good. I love so many good, like actually
Also,
fantastic
I
bits
just
in
yeah,
this.
it's funny. A lot of it is like what was I gonna say? Also, I love how the fact yeah, I
This is
was gonna
great.
say the thing with fucking what was it, Troglor, the thing that the CEO made to replace like
Yeah.
as a mascot, and how at the end of the episode it ends up coming back with like him like with the CEO getting stabbed because he told them to not shoot indoors, like that coming back was so funny. Great ass payoff
Mhm.
there.
What really made me laugh about that one is when he gets shot, he dips his blood in the nug, like he dips his nugget in the blood. Like that's so stupid. What the fuck is that? I
It's
love
so
that. It
good. I
makes
love
such
this.
little sense that it's amazing. Like,
It's
bro,
genuinely like it's
that's
fucking I
wild.
love this episode so much. It's like
I
it's
know,
so
right?
funny. Like
It's so funny.
honestly, it's weird that for this season we honestly peaked at this episode in my eyes, but regardless, this is still an amazing season of television. And I think that's all I got to say about this specific
Mhm.
episode. I think we broke it down pretty
Yeah,
well.
yeah. There's just some little. There's like I don't know, a couple little things. Just a little. I love the part where the fucking like little girl walks up to Alan and she just immediately is like, "What? You startled me." That's funny.
Yeah, it's
And then just a little some animation bits. The fucking zoom in when they're talking, and the after credit scene is so funny.
yeah, always
Where he's like,
great
"Hey, thanks
expressions
a lot."
and posing, like you said. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah, exactly. Then Mr. President comes by, which is probably my least favorite episode of Smiling Friends, but it's still great. It's just
Least
comparatively to
favorite.
the
I'm
other
not
ones.
sure about that, but like honestly, it's there is something really funny about it. First, it's with them like helping the president, and I think there's a lot to like. Like the
Mhm,
president himself here is just this. First
mhm.
off, I love how it's just this live action guy named President
Yeah, that's
Jimbo.
another way to quickly like really blend it here.
Also, just like
What
I
I
find it so funny seeing this live action like grown man and a president like and just sitting as president in office interacting with like these two. I don't even know how to describe what Pim and Charlie are, but yeah, just them seeing
yeah,
that
I know
image is
exactly
so
what you
fucking
mean.
funny. Like just like come on, look at how
Yeah,
like
yeah. Mm.
goofy this
This
is
one,
somehow.
see, the thing is, with this one, despite it being like a least, I guess a least favorite, there's a lot of stuff I really, really love. I, okay, I've seen that fucking opening scene of the Worms a bunch of times because when was that gap between that and the season starting? I was like, ah, god damn it. I need season two grind, gra. The point is, I love opening scene so much where like the news people are worms and there's like squiggly miggly and him just like he's so over the top, like exploiting, fucking flailing around. I love the part where where it's like it's obviously squiggly miggly as it. President Jimbo has no chance. And then Pim goes, "You'll never know. President Ross Perot won in 1996 despite major upset," which is such a specific joke. I had to research, but if you don't know, Ross Perot was the person who ran against Bill Clinton and lost in the 90s, which is really funny, but it
What?
implies if Bill, which is really funny because it implies that if Bill Clinton lost the election, we would end up in the Smiling Friends world, and that's really funny.
Okay,
Like,
that's great.
that's
That's
so
great.
stupid. And then, oh my god, there's some great like little character bits. The fucking when Charlie has the little pickle and he's like holding around, splashing around. We're like peons in this world, and he makes the fucking Charlie Brown face where he's like, "Hey boys, guess who just got a call to make the president smile?" And I also love the fucking the way Alan goes, "Oh, Pim, I forgot about that factoid." The way you can't even tell if he's being sarcastic or not, if he's just genuinely like that, and the way his head bobs up and down, so funny, so fucking
Yeah,
good.
there's a lot to
And
like here. A lot of my favorite
mm,
moments is just how oblivious and stupid President Jimble is. Like the scene where he's trying to get some napkins and then he just launches a nuke by accident. He like
I love
agrees
that.
to
Oh
wipe
my god, it's so
an
good.
entire face of people off the planet without knowing
Mm.
what to do, and then you see Charlie and Pim's reaction to just how like
I love the part where
terrible of a
they
president he is.
accidentally I love the part where he accidentally declares a war, and you actually see the cut to it with all the fucking tanks and shit. That's
Exactly.
so goofy. I love
Also,
it.
when he says
And
that, when
then,
he
oh my
tries to
god,
crash the
mm,
economy by saying he's gonna give
yeah,
everybody
yeah, and
millions of dollars, it's
and then
so
the
good.
thing that that's what Mr. Frog is back in this one, which I'm gonna be honest. In part, I was like, I'm not so sure about this one. Do we need it? But also, like, I'm glad I didn't really fall into the pit trap of, oh, Mr. Frog is a loved character. We brought him back. Yeah, you go, which is mainly because one, I think Mr. Frog was before Smiling Friends. I give them leeway, and I think Mr. Frog President was before that Smiling Friends. So he did it. It's good. But also, I love the joke of it that it's like inherently fucking. They the fact that Mr. Frog caused more harm while he's like in this position now than the thing that got him canceled. That just the fact that no one gives a shit now,
Yeah,
that is really really funny. Also, I just appreciate this episode's a political thing, but it's not really even political commentary. Like what the joke is, President fat and ugly.
it
Wow,
just kind of
what
like
guy?
at most it just exaggerates how much people like how people hate the president sometimes. That's like all it really does. It doesn't really say
Yeah, yeah,
anything about it.
exactly. And that's just kind of a universal thing everyone fucking gets. So that's not exclusively to Smiling Friends.
Yeah,
So, And then it's really the main thing I do really like after this is we get the fucking underground cult where apparently all the worms like that from the beginning there's some sort of pretension. They could be like, "Oh, is the news a cult?" But the other thing is the worms. They're like saying, "Oh, we got Mr. Frog to fucking help him." And Charlie only does it because he mentions Mr. Frog eating worms, and somehow this is a revelation to them, which doesn't make sense at all. How do you not know that a frog eats worms? But all right, sure. But
yeah,
then there's
sure.
like,
But
I love the way that like Charlie gets like sent out. That part where he looks so disheveled and angry, like fucking like insane getting pushed out. Also, I love the lighting and shit in the worm room. It's so cool. And then I love the presidential debate where because now they're like literally manipulating the system. Mr. Frog gets like 2 seconds, and Jimbo gets like fucking the entire time to respond, even if he literally has nothing to say. That's really, really funny, I think. And then,
yeah,
oh my god, I love the fucking ending bits. I love the joke where Charlie like makes an obscure political reference and then like, "Oh, Charlie, look at you with the political facts now." Like that's literally me when I make an obscure reference to someone and only one person gets it. And then Alan just shut up. And then the main thing that gets me is the fact that there is such a deciding vote, the fact that Mr. Frog still won, the fact that Glep was the final call, even though he literally cannot speak, the
yeah,
fact that he gets fucking doxxed for that, that is so stupid. But it's such a funny ending, I think. I loved this episode. Probably the least favorite Smiling Friends, but it's still fantastic. So,
yeah. I
who's
have to
getting
agree.
dissed? Really?
Yeah, that's all for this one. It's another great one.
Yeah.
Next
But
one,
now we're like on Yay and Alan and Adventure. This is what I was really looking forward to. Is like, oh my god, Alan? Alan? I love Alan with all my life. He's the fucking coolest boss ever. And in this one, we get a little side of his perspective where you get to see Alan on his own little adventure thing. I love this one specifically because of how stupid it is from the beginning. It's implied that Alan is a fucking riz up ladies man, considering he just has this women in his apartment. It's like, oh, Alan, last night was amazing, and it's like he doesn't even give a
he
shit,
doesn't even
which is
like
really funny
react to it.
implication for Alan. And then we get his
The
landlord,
landlord is
who
probably one of my favorite new characters of this season,
mm,
probably.
first of all, I love the fact that he keeps mentioning. Burnout Revenge for the
I was
PS2
wondering if
because
you
I
wanted to
am
hang out
nearly
with me and smoke weed and play and fill our bellies with diet soda and play Burnt Out Revenge for the PS2. It's like it's
yeah,
funny because
exactly
it's
that
such a
exact. It's so
specific game for him to want to play. Like, what
That's
the
such a
fuck is that
specific
game?
game that I'm convinced it's like an in joke with between Zach and Michael or
It
something.
probably
Because there's
is.
no other way I can see that being as prominent as it is in the actual thing. But the whole thing is so funny. I love that apparently Pim and Charlie like they're implied they just have the best adventure ever off screen and we should never find out what it is. It's like the fucking Mr. Frog slur joke, we should never find that out. And the Alan thing is so funny with where how he just gets all these extremely specific circumstances for the paper clips. I love the argument he has with the guy stacking shells, and how
And
he's
him
like
ju-
the
and then the
genuine escalate.
argument gets like incredibly heated with him just trying to do his job, and then like for some reason he
How do
gets really
what's so
pissed
funny is
about.
that was the preview clip for this one, and I remember there were people like debating, is Alan the guy in the right? And it's based on fucking like not much. I think it was. I think that's really funny. Like having unironic debates about this stupid fucking show. But there's that whole thing. I love the way that escalates. I love Alan's petty and because with deliveries like because you're being an asshole and
You're
like the way
being
he
an
like looks. It's
asshole,
so
and it's
good.
like it's
Yeah,
just
and then the way he fucking slips away. I love the way he has the fucking
bye
smug ass
bye
look. And he's like,
bye bye, like how petty it becomes
it's
and
so
how just
funny.
like
It's
and
so
how like
funny. Then
angry
the
they get over such a mildly
yeah,
small
yeah.
thing. It's just you can't
Oh my,
help but
it's
not laugh.
so
You can't help but
good.
laugh.
I love it.
And then the
Then the
whole thing
fucking
with the pirates and the Bigfoot and whatnot,
mhm,
that was just some fun and
mhm.
funny,
Honestly, my
entertaining
favorite gag
action.
after that is the fucking old man whose nose looks suspiciously like
The
yours, but
paperclip
it's so yeah.
just yeah, that was funny.
Then I just love how like he has like a genuine like revelation, like oh my, this can't be, and like he goes back to everything
His
and he sees
design is also
everything
really funny, and then they imply later that he somehow fucking died after Alan left.
I like to think that he had a fucking like overdose of happiness after he got the thing. It's like, oh my
Or
god,
maybe he just
ah!
electrocuted himself after using like fucking his nose somehow.
Maybe,
That's
maybe
probably
either or situation is funny. But yeah, then other part after this, where fucking DJ Spitz comes into it, and
Oh
this is because
yeah,
it's a
it was funny
really
seeing him really
elaborate.
come back. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, it's
Yeah,
him.
she has this really fucking elaborate action scene where they're on like helicopters and planes and
And
jumping.
all for just
And
some
it's
paper
first of all,
clips.
it's beautiful. It looks so good. The part where Alan fucking jumps, has to barely catch it. He's flying around and he's on the helicopter. Apart from the preview clip came from this, I thought it was really cool. But you have all these little bits, all these little things, and it's all because of Alan wants fucking paper clips, and that's so good. I love the way so much of it is fucking drawn. The way the fucking like Bigfoot is. The pirates are another great multi-medium thing, and then when you get to the end where it's revealed that it was all done by the landlord, so he could drink diet soda and play Burnout
Him just
Revenge for the
going through all this
PS2.
effort just to get him to hang out with me is just another very petty and stupid thing.
It is
As a
so
friend.
genuinely just really funny, I think. I love that so much. It's
Or just
fantastic.
really wanted to hang
And
out with Alan for some reason.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
the after credit
Also, I
scene
just
where
love
they
how I
tease
love
him
the
coming
fucking
back.
yeah, I love the paperclip callback. Not only because the idea that like the subversion joke of this is a flashback. No, it's he's actually in hell and he's getting dragged, and that's really funny.
Yeah.
But then the idea of that the fucking paperclip was enough to stop him, and that was it. And then oh my god, when he walks back and he's really excited for the award, but then he doesn't want it because it's just the fucking statue of the boss, and the way Charlie offers it over, and the whole thing is I love that whole thing because of the real first of all, like the it's such a funny thing that Mr. Boss has like a mild at least a high enough ego to be like, oh, I'm gonna
He just gave him a smaller
put my
version of
fucking
himself as an
you can put
award.
my
It's
fucking
so weird.
self as the prize. But that is a great like actual unironic like fucking way of presenting it. The board you kind of got to be like you don't want it, but as polite as possible, and the person who gave it to you being like appreciative, but also just like awkward about it. It's so genuinely really fucking funny. I love that whole thing so much. The way Charlie says, I'll take it if you don't want it, Alan." Another line delivery that really sticks in my mind. Another peak ass episode of peak ass Smiling Friends. So you know that's pretty cool. I think. Also, the visual of Alan on the riding the boat, it's perfect. I love him. He looks so awesome. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Um.
Then next was the boss finds
What the
love,
boss
which
finds
this is
love?
another one I was like kind of yeah. This one I wasn't as sure on because I was like, I don't even know like the premise wise. It sounds kind of lame, but I think this one very much proved itself really quickly. First of
Hmm.
all, this is such an underrated line, but for some reason, the part that got me to laugh a lot on my first watch was when Pim calls Mr. Boss a horn dog in the opening. Like that got me. That's so stupid.
Yeah, that was
But,
good.
but yeah, and then okay, this is the fucking I love the bit where Charlie is visiting. Charlie is just such a funny fucking like thing because he's always so casual all the time. So getting him so unkempt is great. And then he has the fucking dagger, and if you pay attention, you notice his piss slowly comes down throughout the scene because that's very funny.
Yeah, it's
Like it's
great.
so stupid. I love the whole thing. And then this one I think in general I really like because it subverts a common trope that like I was mentioned, the smiling friends often has very common trope puts it on twist on it. This one is the very common one of oh no, you're getting married to someone who might not love you and also is taking advantage of you. What oh, that is very common. Except in this instance, Smiling Friends exaggerates this to the point where that said event is happening with the literal literal personification of Satan. Like that's so funny, and I love the way they like exude it a lot. I love that also this one gives more like Alan episode is kind of like portrayed as an outlier because you don't get Alan a lot. But here it's
Yeah,
like,
it's
okay, no,
definitely a good one.
Alan is involved in the main boys stuff. No, he deserves to be in the big leagues. He has stuff in this episode with all of them. He needs to go to his Doctor Monster appointment with Doctor Monster, and no one ever learns what that means. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. And you're just like, oh my god, the fucking whole thing with the Mr. Boss. I love how I love how he looks when he's possessed. That's really funny. The shot of them laying in bed is great. I love the part where Charlie and Pim just ask about like taking the drinks because they're so pissed about it. And
The
then
thing with the eyeball was funny. And then of course the Doug Walker cameo. How can we
hello,
forget
I'm
about
Daniel
that?
the Demon Slayer. I slay demons, so you don't have to.
It's very
Now
funny and cool that he was in this, and I like how his cameo was like plot relevant and all.
I respected Doug Walker very much for this whole thing because his whole fucking he's made like a reputation as in like this ironic meme force, and unlike other people who shut it down, he kind of embraces it, which I really respect. But on top of that, I just kind of like the thing with Doug Walker is he's so like he the whole thing is Zach Hadel and a lot of the other Oni plays people. He got very much heavily dunked on in like jokes and whatever as like a fucking joke person. And to repay that, Doug was so kind enough to get a fucking he played along with the joke enough to get a bit in this, and it's so perfect because I've seen enough nostalgia character be like that is the exact type of character Doug would make for an NC sketch, and they said and made him say Dollar Shave Club, which is the exact sponsor he would use. It's perfect. And and on top of that, he's also just like he's got the fucking it's implied that the joke is that the sponsor is 90% of the video because he goes,
Yeah.
hello, I'm Daniel the Demon Slayer. I
That was
say
a
demon, so
funny
you don't have to use
detail.
this as the arm thing. And he's like, yeah, he said the whole detail. That's great. I'll bet Alan skips over it too because he's like thank you. It's really funny.
Yeah. Also,
Also,
just
I love the
this
shot where they're like the smiling friends will be owned by Satan
Satan.
and the
Ah,
cut.
and then they
It's
all
so
just
good.
front face.
It's so
It's
good.
funny. I think one of my just the entire scene with Pim and Charlie trying to poison the demon like the daughter of Satan was really funny. And then it just failing when you find out like the knife was fake. And then I like how Charlie is more worried about like him getting his money back rather than like the actual task at hand. And I also like how like when Brittany finds out about it, she just fucking jumps off a cliff and becomes overly sensitive. It's really funny.
Mhm. I love the joke where they're talking about like, oh, why are you claiming I did all these things to the boss? Is like, well, did you? It's like, I mean, I did, but you don't have to be so mean about it. Like,
Yeah.
that's so stupid. Also, I love that Charlie. This is the second Halloween episode, and after saying he hates costumes, Charlie just in a full fucking get up that entire second half. I think that's really funny.
Oh yeah.
And also, also, though, they pay off the Glep gardening joke, which is really funny to me because they're like, "Oh, Glep infamously hates gardening." Like, excuse me? What do you mean by that?
Yeah,
Like,
for
this
some
is
reason he
so
hates
weird.
gardening.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, but it's funny.
Yeah, another
I like it.
fantastic episode right here.
Definitely. Oh, it just actually, I don't even have much more notes for this one. I just one beyond that, I really like how awkward the whole song bit at the end is. It's just like that weird tension you can get sometimes when there's like some sort of cheesy thing. I love that. And also the visual of him going, "Happy Halloween, everybody!" He's my little guy. I love him so much. Then after the fact, Brother's Egg. This one has one of my favorite jokes, not even because it's one of the best, but because Jared Fogle shows up and he was a bit between a bunch of my friends for a while. So
Yeah.
seeing him show up was like, and I cackled. And they address everything. Mr. Boss somehow uses Jared Fogle being a pedophile as prank material. It's so funny.
It's funny.
So
Also,
stupid.
him calling him a pedophile was just like it's just funny to hear him say something like that. And it's also
So,
like they like genuinely displayed like Jared Fogle as like incredibly creepy based
mm.
off of what they did with the animators, just based off of the way like
Yeah,
they
see,
do
they
him
know at the
looking.
very least,
Yeah,
but
they know he's a monster, you know.
obviously it's just so funny that like also apparently Glep was like maneuvering that thing, and I genuinely
That was
question how
funny.
because
I
it's
don't
like
know how he did that.
what what even? But anyway, that one leads into the transition for this, which again, this is another one where I didn't know much about other than that it had Professor Psychotic, who he was in the trailer. Which by the way, I love that trailer. The fucking "Making My Dreams Come True." I love that they play that song. It's iconic as fuck. The point is, I only knew the fucking Professor Psychotic thing from that, and. Like, okay, who is this guy? And when we get to his thing, it's like he's very typical mad scientist. I absolutely adore how he's animated with all these quick posing and the little twitching in the hairs and the big ass nose and the big ass mustache. He's so fucking cool. But it does the smiling friends thing again, where it's like another typical trope for cartoons. Mad scientist. Ooh. But what does this do? Oh, the mad scientist brother who looks like Joel Haver kicks him out of their apartment, and also they have familial issues that they have to naturally sort out for like the ecosystem of life. Like
Yeah.
that's funny. That's really funny even. I
It
love
is
it.
one
And the whole
thing
thing is
I have
great
to talk
'cause-
talk about some of this. The scene where Doug, the guy who's like played by Joel Haver, funny to see him there. I
yeah.
think the animation style fits well with Smiling Friends and
Oh, it's
like the
great.
visual
He
style.
perfectly fits in the fact that he doesn't fit in. Like it's so
Yeah.
like
Also, them
yeah.
being brothers is also really funny. But the entire scene when they have this awkward conversation about his stage in life, and then Doug just getting incredibly paced, saying, "You waste time. You do stupid shit," and then you just see him like. Then you just see Professor Psychotic just kind of taking it, and then he ends up getting kicked out.
It's
It's like,
funny how Pim and Charlie are just kind of standing there when that happens. Like
yeah,
that's
just
so
having
funny.
no idea like
Like,
the relationship between these two.
yeah.
It's so funny.
It's so funny. I love the joke where Charlie and Pim, to avoid it, try speaking in Spanish, but I guess he just kind of
He just
knows. That's
knows
really
Spanish for
stupid.
some reason.
And then the
Yeah.
fucking mm, again, this one kind of gave me the fucking in some episodes reminded me of the a little bit of a retread from the shrimp stuff with Charlie trying to get her like the psychotic, oh, like a date. But that lasts barely anything. And also, it's a funny joke. He's like, I don't know how to talk to women. Like, dude, could you just make one? Like, that's so stupid.
Yeah, that
And then she
entire
picks up
scene
like
was pretty really
the
funny.
and then the first like conventionally attractive like type woman he talks to
Just
immediately ends up
loses his
being
shit,
labeled
and
like
then
insane.
yeah, and then
He literally But anyway, I just love the again the construction scene of Joel Haver's character is so good. I love the way he delivers. I'd rather knock your block off, you little freak. And Pim's just like, what? He just genuinely didn't know. Oh my god, I love him so much. He's so
And then
adorable.
yeah, the scene after that where like they try to meet back together, only for like them to get at each other's throats, and then we see along with Doug, Professor Psychotic changes animate visual styles just so they were able to like animate this fight between two of them,
Oh
and
my,
it looks
because he goes into
so
like
funny.
motion capture too. I love the dialogue in that part so much, where they're talking about
Like
like it
kick
actually gets
your
serious with
fucking
like
ass, man.
yeah, yeah, there's all the like mother props, and then that leads to that. It's genuinely so funny. I love the visual of them toppling around is fucking
It was
incredible.
also weirdly
I love how
touching
Doug is
seeing them
genuinely
kind of.
sincere, and Psychotic is fucking reading his shit off of his phone screen. That's so funny. And then the way they like topple, and then that's what leads to like the egg coming out, which is a stupid looking design, has the fucking Squidward nose. But the main thing I love about that is just the ending where Charlie is just so sincerely like, man, Pim, I can't deal with this anymore. My life's too fucking insane. I'm just done. Like that is so funny, honestly. The way he's just genuinely like, I can't fucking put up with this anymore. It's like it's so raw. Also, it's weird that the fucking thing sucks toes, but that's a whole conversation for another day. All the things in this one could have been paced slightly better, but also it's really funny, and I fucking love. Oh, wait, I forgot two jokes on my way out. Mr. Boss's seal face genuinely getting Charlie is really funny. You know that's great,
Yeah.
and the weird CGI wrestling movie with the ham I love because I don't get it at all.
Yeah,
Oh,
also
and then
just
Mr.
I
Boss.
like I said, this the nice resolution was like weirdly wholesome in some way, and I don't know,
It is.
it's
It's
kind of
very
nice.
sweet. I
I
love
can't
it.
say it's like my favorite. It's like one of the weaker episodes in my mind. I think that might be because like I feel like they could have done more in terms of like the stuff with Charlie and Professor Psychotic. I don't know. It was a bit weird in that pacing, which is the only time I felt like I've
I
noticed
think it's a
that in
really
an
because like the way
episode.
they set it up makes it seem like they're gonna go more so in the
Not a
direction of
huge
the
deal, but it's like the
no, no,
only
no. It's really just more like I like. Okay, I see where you could have gone, but what we did get isn't bad at all. It's more just like
yeah.
they set it up one way, then you can go the other, and it's like it's no
It,
big deal, really.
it's
Like if
yeah, but like it's like the only time where I felt like a bit, it was a bit off, and it was like kind of the only
yeah,
time I
yeah.
felt
I
a
get what
bit
you're
of an
saying.
issue
Definitely,
there.
I get what you're
But
saying.
regardless, it's still a
Any,
great episode. Even one of the weaker
yeah, yeah.
episodes of Smiley
Anyway,
Friends is still
yeah,
hilarious
hundred
in
percent.
many ways.
Yeah,
Next
anyway.
one is one of my
Charlie,
favorite
Pims, and
ones.
Bill versus the Alien is a hilarious fucking episode. I adore this one. First of all, I absolutely love this one from a pacing perspective because it wastes zero time. We don't need a scene of him going, "Oh, hey Charlie, do you want to go alien hunting with me?" And
Yeah.
then they cut it off or something. And because we don't do that. It's like simple. We gotta keep pushing it. So then I love them. Like they talk a bit in the car. That's great. And then they like fucking go to the corn maze or whatever where they're at there. I love the three guys there. The fucking Bill, how casual he is. The fucking fat ass, and then the other guy. I forget. I think
I
he's
think his name was Fillmore. I love that guy. The guy's
Fillmore.
just like being your
Fillmore
typical,
and
uh,
Duncan. Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, the
just
three
like
of
your
them.
typical
First of all,
like,
I love the joke where fucking mm, where like where it's like Pim's like Pim, where Char's like Pim, what is this? And he's talking about the UFO thing where it's like, first of all, it's so sweet that Pim was like, he immediately thought Charlie was into something and tried to get it like
yeah, it
done.
was
Like
funny and it
so
backfiring
it's
like
it's
so
all
hard in this
I just love the
episode
line
because
where
it
he's like,
was
oh,
funny.
I thought it was because he thought it was Glep. I love that. It's so stupid in that general sense. But yeah, oh my God, I love the first couple of minutes. I get so much out of just the little preamble to the fucking alien stuff. The one guy, like the Fillmore, fucking twitching out and doing his whole specific. I love how insane he's portrayed through the posing and his little facial hairs, the way he's moving all around. It's so good, so fucking funny. I love
Yeah,
how
he's
like
also
lame
like,
the alien
I find
routines
it
are. Like,
funny that he's like
yeah.
this UFO, like insane. And also when the UFO actually shows up, he admits that he was just over exaggerating and was just
Oh my God, I
messing with
love
them.
that. The fact that he was just playing up a bit the entire time is so fucking stupid. I don't even understand it. and then just oh my god, I just love it
Whole thing with them
so much.
getting
I
the
love
stuff
the part like when
did.
they're talking about how mundane it is, or like they mentioned like oh I guess a bird, and they thought like like a satellite may have been a UFO in 2013 or something. That's so funny.
It's
But
so
they
specific. Once
immediately like
again, very
yeah.
funny.
Well, it's like immediately like near fucking. I love that. Okay, by the way, I love that they mentioned that Charlie's uncle is part of that fucking UFO thing because for some reason he's this very specific detail they keep going back to. But Charlie's uncle lore is crazy.
Yeah,
The
I
point is,
forgot about
when they
that.
actually get abducted, it's so great because again, it's another like again classic thing. I love that they fucking kill Bill right away. Like, kill Bill, but he's just like he's just dead. Like they said the whole
Yeah.
thing of the three of them versus the aliens. Like, no, that guy's fucking toast. But anyway, it's so cool. The visuals of space are absolutely majestic. But I love again how this is a perfect subversion thing. Where again with all these fucking
Alien
classic tropes.
creatures.
The whole thing is yeah, like, alien creatures. You can either go two ways. You go the ET route of it, is oh they're innocent aliens, or the War of the Worlds way, where it's like oh no, these aliens are trying to take us over and kill us. No, either way I think is admittedly pretty lame. And this episode kind of saves itself by not doing either of them. And the joke is. Oh, the aliens are just fucking frat bros who really want you to be cool and do whatever. First of all, fun fact that both aliens are pitch shifted versions of again Mike Stolklasa and Rich Evans, which I only learned because I saw a video of their voices pitch shifted, and one of the aliens laughs, it sounds exactly like Rich. If you watch Red Letter Media, you'll get that because he has a very very specific laugh that I think you'd pick up on. But point is,
I need to
it's
check that.
yeah, I'll link maybe I'll link the video or something. But point is, it's so cool the whole way he's fucking. I love the party montage so much. I love the visual of Pim
Yeah, a
with the
lot of
bat and his
creative
eyes
colors
twitching
and
hitting.
visuals
He's so
there.
cool. And then when they actually get drugged up into doing that whole thing and they're like fucking maneuvering around that dance, it's so cool. The shot of Pim turning into clay before waking up from the fucking bender. It's so cool, so fucking
And then we
funny.
get to the
And
just amazing peak scene where you get the aliens trying to get Pim and Charlie to blow up this planet. And then it turned out, and then like after threatening them to put them into this like sphere that would torture them for eternity, and then they decide to destroy the planet, and then they lose their mind, and then they like it's so funny because
it's so stupid, and I love it so much. I love the idea that to these aliens, a harmless prank is an actual moral dilemma, choosing between saving yourselves from constant torture or getting rid of innocence. That's like an actual
and then they
moral
just like
dilemma.
and then
Hmm.
it's
They
so
played off as a dumb prank, and then I love how Charlie, like the way he's like drawn, is just so pissed. It seems so
pure
genuinely
anger and in
done.
terms of starting
Yeah,
like
yeah.
beef with him over this and then
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
it's so funny
It's so
seeing
funny. Also, I
just
love
the
the visual of like the fucking like this is just a light. I got off Valley Baba. Like the fact that like the thing looks. I love how
it
that
just
thing
being
looks
a
too. It's
fake
cool.
thing they were just trying to
Yeah,
do
and
all
they're
this
being
is
like,
so
yeah, they're
funny.
just so mad, and Charlie calls them out for being lame and losers. And the audio on Zach Hadel is so good at his performance here. I love him so much. And then it just, I love that the whole thing is like the fucking to commit to the whole idea of oh, this is just fucking frat bros in space. The fucking space police show up and try to get them, which has an irony to it because Rich Evans played a character in Space Cop, and now the space cops are coming after his character. That's fun. But point is, I love the part where they're fucking they're escaping and after that because it's so stupid. They fucking to commit to the college parody, they got fucking police narking on them. There's one line where Pim mentions that Charlie and known them for like years upon years. They're like, "Whoa, Charlie Pym shippers thought that was crazy," which is weird to get out of that. But point is, I love that. Okay, first of all, I love both of the ending jokes. Where like, what, just like nice. They just genuinely have a great time together. I love Pim Charlie dynamic so much. They're
Yeah,
so
it's
awesome.
fun.
But it just I love the joke where Charlie's like, you think we get that pirate? You think we pirate that game? But it's like, oh, that's an alien game. You probably wouldn't get it. Like that's so. That's just stupid conversation, but it feels oddly realistic. Like that sense of needing to get something. And these creators are cool. They understand that I've pirated every episode of this show.
Yeah.
For legal reasons, I haven't. obviously, but and then the flat earther joke, like, come the fuck on, man, like that is so
No,
good.
like, come
Like,
on,
I
it
love this,
speaks for
like,
itself with how, like, their
first of all, I
pure
love the fact that
disdain and
yeah.
reaction to this and
mm,
how
I
baffled
love
they
the fact
are.
that they couldn't even just like it wasn't even Earth is flat as in oh it's like a little oval. It's like oh no, it's built like a fucking bottom of like it's built like a fucking Beyblade out here. Like the way it's like shaped, that's so stupid. The fact that one no NASA astronauts or anything have apparently seen this according to Pim and Charlie, and the fact that they just kind of have to live with this and they're like praising this as if it's like a horrible secret they have to keep. That is relentlessly funny and a perfect end to this episode. Just the way they're genuinely. I love that shot of him on the chair as he has his hands on his eyes. Such good posing on that part. It is so cool.
Hmm.
And yeah, that one is fucking great. Also, Fillmore and Duncan in the prison cell is funny.
Yeah, that's
Duncan
funny.
vomit. Duncan vomits, which normally I don't like that type of joke that much, but in
I
this
don't know. I
instance, I
feel like
think it's
just
funny.
him not saying anything and just randomly vomiting ended up being really funny.
It's funny that that's the only thing he
Yeah,
does,
he
is what
doesn't
I'll
say
say.
anything else and
Yeah.
just randomly
Mhm.
vomits.
Yeah. Anyway, then we got the magical red jewel, aka Tyler gets fired. And this
Another
is
amazing
honestly my
one.
hot take. I think this is my favorite episode of Smiling Friends. I've seen
Really?
it 3 times at this point, and honestly, yes, I adore everything about this episode. I think it is so funny, and I every little bit in this thing I think works tremendously well. Because we start off with the opening, right, which is one of the funniest jokes. This is the third, fifth Smiling Friends joke they've done, where we had fucking Smormu, we had Jumbo. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention, but I love the knife comeback in that, so it all fucking ties together. But this one it's Tyler, which is so funny. It gives me some major Ponce clone high energy to it.
It
You know
does,
that idea
yeah.
of like exactly,
I
introducing a
love
character
that when
just to
shows do
get rid
that,
of
like
them.
they act like you know this character already and then just introduce them randomly for the sake of a joke. I think
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
really
Mm.
funny.
In Tyler's case, it's so funny because other times Smiling Friends does live action, they try to blend it into the world much better. Whereas with him, when Tyler's on screen, the actual Smiling Friends animation feels like it's on a fucking green screen, and that's hilarious to me. Like, what is bro doing genuinely? It's so fucking funny the way he walks out, the way he tries like, if you fire Tyler, you can fire me too. And then the whole fucking spamtopia thing they set up, which first of all, this actually works continuity wise retroactively because the story in the fucking salty episode where Pim's talking about how the fucking like he says the thing is like Pim, how do you not understand any of that? It's a gibberish story done by the eyeball people,
Oh
and
my
those are the same
god,
people you see
yeah.
in
I was
Spamtopia.
thinking of
Like,
that now. Yeah, like when you reminded me of
hmm.
that, I was like thinking of that in my mind. It was like, oh wow, that's actually
Yeah,
really
and
cool.
it's so cool because for a show that is so purposely nonsense, I like that even in its nonsense world, there is some form of
Uh,
nonsense consistency. I
yeah,
love that.
continuity of some
And then
kind. I
the
like it when, it'd
yeah,
be easy
and then
to
there's a
just like forget about this stuff, but this like episode's about that, with the whole
yeah,
Charlie and
yeah,
Alan arguing over the fucking nibbling thing and whatnot, and
uh-huh.
how that
I
becomes.
love that joke so much because first of all, it's so funny to take a genuine like fucking like the stupid like joke visual. Like, okay, it's funny to have Alan, who's a little bit of an eccentric guy, bite Charlie's nose and ask, "Can I have my cheese back?" That's funny, but how do they push it? They push it so far by having fucking like this genuine unironic argument about it, about how it made him like uncomfortable. And also, if you go back and watch Desmond's Big Day Out, which is what I did to prepare for that episode, you can see the second time Alan bites Charlie, Charlie moves back slightly, implying he doesn't want to get nibbled again. Which that does not. Obviously, they were not planning this when that episode aired in goddamn 2020. But the retroactive way that works is amazing. And also, my theory that I've seen passed around that people are like, well, how come Alan didn't remember is I like the interpretation that he probably was like on some form of medication to deal with the blibbly the Blibbly injury, so he just didn't
Oh, that's
remember it
funny.
based on
That's
that.
funny to think
I
about.
like to think that's what it is because I think that's a really funny way to look at it. And then I fucking love the Alan Charlie dynamic in this because it's such a perfect awkward energy where you're in a friend group, but only really when you're hanging out with multiple people at once, so you don't have like fucking that much chemistry with them in this situation. And this situation kind of damaged by the whole like a nose thing, but still that fits. And then Spamtopia is fucking amazing. This is one of my
Visuals
favorite
are
visuals in the show. It
especially
is perfect. They
fantastic.
come in, it has this perfect vibe of like shitty MS Paint drawings, but also like weird stock like video like thing the fucking not like I don't think text to speech, but some form of like deformed like AI, well, like not AI,
Yeah,
like you know
something
what I mean?
like that. Like the voice for the jester guy, aka Oscar, was like it definitely is similar to like a more robotic like AI. I
I've
forgot what it's
definitely heard
exactly.
that
Yeah, I
more.
definitely also have
Yeah,
heard that before. But I forgot
yeah,
what it's
yeah.
exactly
It's
called. But it's like
yeah,
it
no,
did
yeah, no, I'm
fit
on the
well.
same page, and it's so good there. The way like it makes like all those visuals are so good. The fact that it's all eye people. I love the fact that their very specific rule is the fact that you can't look
They,
them in the eye. And there's a great joke here that I really love where this is Mosquito. He starts sucking down on the eye, then blood starts going out, and then part of blood bursts, and it's really funny, and I think in a really interesting way because there's a very easy way to make these sort of jokes where it's like, oh, haha, look at the how gross something is. Look at how much vulgar like blood there is. To think of an example, the Clone High reboot I've seen do that, and it seems very egregiously like just not needed there. But in this, it's doubles because the joke isn't oh gross. The joke is oh Pym can't look at gross, or is he going to be executed because he's showing genuine compassion for a human being?
Also, the
Like that's so
look on
funny.
his
It's
face while
fucking
this happens,
stupid.
like him trying to like
Hmm.
desperately block his face,
Yeah,
and then also
yeah,
the
also,
scene where
yeah.
him and the boss are about to be brutally executed, and the boss tries to like just get him to poison himself basically to get
Yeah,
the easier
I
way
love that.
out.
That is so
And I'm
funny.
like,
I
damn,
also
that's
love the part
dark.
where I love the part where Pim's just like, oh, can I see the ruler of this country? And then the guy fucking switches the hat, and then it turns out to be Oscar's pen pal, which I actually really liked because it does something that I think is really interesting. Where first of all, the visuals of them all being slashed in half is really funny. That's so stupid. But point is, the thing is, the whole thing that gets him to spare him is, oh, it's Pim, and I like Pim, and I like Pim because Pim made me feel less self-conscious about my eye. And Pim's like, and they call attention to the fact that Pim has weird eyes that aren't fully
It
drawn
was
in.
kind of a
That's
nice
so
detail. I
cool.
like
I
that.
didn't think they were ever gonna do that, but that's amazing. I love that. That's so fucking awesome. I think that's really interesting. I
Also,
really,
just the whole
really
thing
love
with
that.
him and the boss trying to escape it as like all the rules are demolished, and
Mhm.
it just them
I love the
escaping
way
is
it just
funny.
fucking decomposes, and the joke about the waitress disappearing, which is really funny because it's genuinely disappointed. He fucking comes back, and then and the word just starts depleting. It's so cool. I love that chase. All the different colors too. It's so vibrant, so lovely. I love how everyone's so shitty, but also perfectly shitty. And we're getting to the last scene. I'm just gonna bring up the rest of the Charlie Allen plot because it's so funny. I love that. First of all, it's funny that he pulls up the like fucking manifesto by the boss because we have no idea what the fuck that means. But also, it's really funny that two things that I noted. One, rewatching footage, I noticed that the boss has a fidget spinner in his desk, and that's really funny.
Yeah, I
Like, what the
noticed
fuck is
that
the
too.
Mister Boss gonna do with that? And
Also,
also, I love that one line he mentions is he wants to get like fucking. He's like he can save Mister Boss's like kid because of the Mr. Frog CPR special. Like, what does that even mean?
why would
Like
there
the
be
fact
a
that the show that is
CPR special?
the show is so stupid and purposefully limited as Mr. Frog. How's that gonna have like a special episode of anything? That's so stupid. I don't fucking get it. It's so dumb, but it's really funny. And also, I love them. The Charlie and Alan beef being like really like unironic is really funny. The way that Glep is going around the room is great. I
It's
love his
also really
fucking
well animated the fight they have with each other
Oh yeah,
over
100%. I love the way they're just
Jason was
genuinely
really
both at
funny.
each other's throats about it. It is that dynamic isn't explored much, but I think it's so funny. They're like killing each other, being assholes. The one time's like he was like he's like I love the way he's like accusing him of being lazy. He's like, "Fuck you! I was checking work emails," which is really funny in Alan's voice. And then they like keep killing, and then the part where he fucking strangles him like fucking Homer Simpson ass. And then the part at the end where the jewel is what first I love the part where the boss gets the jewel and Pim's just like genuinely disappointed, like, oh, that's it.
Hmm.
That's all it was. That's so funny.
Yeah.
And then the part that the jewel revives him, and the fucking like, Charlie can't even bring up what the manifesto was because apparently the fucking butterfly sprouting is like too
Yeah, and
much,
then
and
it
that
just
gets him.
poisons everyone. The
Mm,
fucking fire
yeah.
alarm goes off, and then it just ends with everyone
Yeah,
like
it's
losing their
so
shit
funny.
over it. It's an
Yeah, and then
amazing.
the
It's
fucking I love the
an
yeah.
amazing ending.
Yeah, it's so good. Oh, here's a couple of little things, just little jokes I liked. I like this is such a specific note, but Smiling Friends characters always say hello in the same way. So when Pam was like hello, and then the thing with his arms, it's so well animated, just so charming. I love them.
Hmm.
Also, the fucking the eyes, I just the way the eyes move when they fucking spit the dust is great. I love the joke, like really early on. I just want to mention this while we're on the episode, where the him just gets fucking teleported to the car. Like that's so stupid. How the fuck did he do that? And then the fucking tar like that's getting to me. Sorry, folks. The fucking Tyler thing. That is so funny. Like adding an Ezra illusion, then they fucking fist bump. I love it. It's so stupid. It's
Hmm.
so funny. My favorite episode of Smiling Friends by far. I appreciate the creativity in this one so much, and it's just so fucking cool on a
Yeah,
bunch of levels. I
it's
love
another amazing one, and then this brings us
it.
to
Yeah.
the finale.
The final episode,
Of the show
Pim
so far.
finally turns green. First of all, I love that the title literally relates to nothing. Like,
It's a
there's no
lie.
green.
It's a complete lie.
It is.
But
It's
I did
literally
really love
clickbait
this
and
one.
TV title, but also I think that's really funny. And then, because this one is the first, I like that the first Christmas episode is entirely Charlie focused. Now we got a full Pym one, which makes it. I think apparently I heard about the fact that they originally wanted Pym to go to hell, but they thought that Charlie's personality fit it better.
Yeah,
So
Pim does
I
not
think that
fit
was
to
a good.
go to hell at all.
Yeah, exactly. That was definitely a much better call. But this one, I think, is another example of okay, it's kind of another like a little classic, and a classic Christmas trope. And this one getting attached to some sort of Christmas figure and then losing sight of it. If, except in this one, the joke is first of all, I fucking love how shittily the snowman looks. Not even
The
just for that. That's a funny
yeah,
visual.
and
I
the
love the stop
snowman.
motion.
Stop motion
And
is
then
really
and yeah,
good.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then I love the way that Alan is just like so pissed at it. Like he's just so genuinely dissing of the snowman. It's like, bro, what is bro's deal? That's so funny.
Also, the
And
Mr. Boss
then,
wanting to just
mhm,
shoot him very badly
yeah,
is
oh my god,
also
it's so
really
funny.
funny.
I love in the subversions that like in Frosty does he had like a hat, but this is a fucking dandelion
With
that brings him to
toxic
life. And then oh my
waste.
god, Rodden. Okay, Rodden has such a stupid voice, but I think it fits him. He's oddly kind of charming.
Yeah, he's
He
a
does a
charming
good balance where he
character. I
starts.
like him a
Yeah,
lot.
he has a good balance where he starts yelling later. He does a good thing where like he's annoying for the characters, but not the audience, and that's a really important distinction to make. And I'm really glad that distinction
Yeah, because
is
I
made.
actually I liked
Really.
his French little friendship with Pim. It was kind of nice, and the whole thing with him
Mm-hmm.
having this existential crisis. It's not anything.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was executed in a funny
yeah,
way, and
that's great stuff.
I like the
Yeah.
ending. Also, I want to bring up
Oh, I love
probably one of my favorite scenes this season. Like this isn't my favorite
mhm.
episodes. My two favorite episodes of the season are the Gwimbly one and the UFO one. But I
Oh,
love the
that's very
scene
fair.
where the Yeti shows up with Rotten, and then he acts like a genuinely pissed, like father, like concerned parent or
Mm.
whatever, and he's like, "This
I
guy's
love
been
that
going
joke because
nuts."
it makes such a little sense to be like, if they were their cave, why didn't they show up or anything? Because they were being very loud. He could have got up, but then the genuine like struggle of, oh yeah, no, we had like actual shit going on that your stupid snowman did, and it's also him just saying fucking pussy and slamming
Well,
should not
see,
be that funny. But the delivery and the way it's so dramatic is so funny.
yeah,
I
just
love
the
that whole thing.
pure
It's great.
subtle anger in his voice
Yeah,
just ended up
yeah.
evoking so much power that it just
Oh,
makes that line so
100%.
funny.
Yeah, just a couple of scenes from the early bits I want to mention like quickly. First of all, I love the excuse Alan has for not taking care of Rodden is that him and Glep were going to karaoke. And it's so specific, and Gleb can't even sing like words. How
Yeah,
that doesn't even make any
I
sense.
can't picture him
Also, when Mr.
singing.
Boss flies, when he flies away on the rocket boots, and he's just like, I love the way Charlie's so like, he should do stand up, and the
Probably not
second he
stand
gets
up.
pushed, yeah, like, and then the second he gets pushed back from Alan, he like just like he immediately falls. That's so funny. Also, the montage between Pim and the snowman is great. I think I think it has a really good balance where, and that hashtag previously plugged the Christmas thing I talk about. A lot of good Christmas specials and comedy shows keep to their usual kind of mean spirited like edge or sense, but still are wholesome enough for it to fit. And this one I think is a good
It does
example
that
of that
really well, yeah. I
because the
like
whole
this
thing is
stuff
it's
with
very
Ron.
funny that
It's
it's with
kind of
this
cute.
shitty ass snowman and it's this snowman who's getting this existential crisis over nothing. But also it is genuinely sweet, I think,
Yeah,
the relationship
it's
between Pim and Ron.
it's
And I like
cute.
that a lot.
It's nice. I like it.
It's nice. I think it's really adorable.
It's
And
nice
Pim is like
seeing
my
him
favorite
trying to
character.
like
I love him.
find out more
Mm,
about life and whatnot.
mm,
It's not anything like
yeah.
amazing or mind blowing or
No,
whatever.
no,
But
no.
regardless, it's
It's
just a
it's just
nice
fun.
little thing that adds to the nice Christmas special. And him like
Yeah.
melting and then becoming like a part of the sea was a nice way to end things. Also, how did you feel
Yeah.
about the Charlie's girlfriend thing returning? I'm pretty sure you were gonna
Okay,
bring that
okay.
up.
Yeah, actually, I have a couple more notes on this episode, but I'll say this one first. So Charlie's girlfriend is she appears in the like I think only in the fucking the first the Halloween episode, and then the Charlie's funeral one. Apparently, the way I was saying here is I honestly I forget if you've ever bring it up so far, but the whole thing is in an interview before season 2 aired, either Zach or Michael, I forget which one, said that she died in a bulldozer incident, and also that she was Charlie's girlfriend. Well, not Charlie's boyfriend. She's not Charlie's not gay. But the whole thing is that whole thing of fucking like I think it's really funny that in the context of the show, Charlie has this whole other life with like an actual girlfriend. Just like the show is never gonna act like properly address that. It's just kind of like a thing that's in the background if you want to see it. Also, I think it's very funny that
Mhm.
like fucking that the people fell for the bulldozer thing, and then when she came back, everyone it was so funny. The sort of like weird side of Smiling Friends Twitter fucking hate Charlie's girlfriend because like, oh no, Pimex Charlie is canon. That's ruining it, or some stupid shit like that.
Uh,
Or they're just baffled that she comes back, which is really funny. I always thought it'd be really funny if Charlie had like a tragic death in his life and just never mentioned it because of like continuity. But also, it's like a minor thing. I don't really care that much. And I think there's an inherently funny joke to the fact that her girlfriend is like a traditional like looking like obviously like a human,
just a normal
and
human
she's like
being.
and she's like, oh man, like she's like, oh man, my boyfriend is so hot, and it's fucking Charlie. Like that's funny.
Yeah, it's
I
funny.
love that whole thing. But yeah, a couple more notes on the episode before we finish up. The Bill Nye song is really funny. I love that
Oh yeah, I
Charlie's just
forgot
like,
about
oh,
that.
yeah, I love that Charlie's just like, oh, I know what you mean, Pim, and he's like so like, yeah, no, I get that. Like, even though that doesn't make any sense in like actual context, why the fuck would he be so assuring of that? We do not know. That is wild. The immediate crash is great, and also it's funny that Bill Nye got like he just got confirmed like I think a day or so ago that he's gonna get a Hollywood Walk of Fame star, which is really funny because that like timed coincidentally with his like death in this. People were like, "Oh, it's nice they gave him that to honor Bill Nye's death." Or some shit like that's so goofy. I love that. And then the whole first of all, I love the scene in the office where they're all just like bouncing around, being like, "Oh, I love you guys." Like Charlie being so nice to Alan is really funny after last week. So it's just immediate flip, but it's just genuinely sweet too. Like they're all like, it's a very specific scenario, but they just kind of appreciate each other. Which normally I'd be like, this is out of character for the show, but I think it's very nice that this core dynamic is strong, even if it is stupid. And also just like it fits. It's a Christmas episode. You can be a little more schmaltzy with it.
Yeah.
And I won't go on too long about this, but I do think the episode. Sorry, it's really late at night. We're almost done here. I
Mhm.
think has a genuinely really nice message to it, where it's like it's not like anything too mind blowing. The whole thing is Rod, he gets forced to stay in the freezer so he won't melt, he won't die, and he's kind of there. And he says he's living, but not really living. And it's the whole thing I
Yeah.
find really interesting. And I think the whole thing I find really interesting of it is even though it's mostly played for a joke, I think it is genuinely sincere life advice in the sense of like, okay, well, What's the point of like lasting longer in life if you're not doing anything to fulfill that time? That's ultimately a message about like spending life well. And again,
Yeah,
it's
it's
funny. It's a
not
silly
amazing,
message.
anything mind blowing like we said, but it's still like a nice message that fits
I
a
think
nice
it definitely
Christmas
is very
special.
sweet, and I really like the way it kind of ties the whole thing together. I love the scene where he actually melts and like it said turns to the ocean. It's a funny visual. It's just his mouth there. I love the visual of Mr. Boss on the surfboard. He looks so
Yeah,
funny.
it's funny.
And then, oh my God, the actual endings of it too. First, I love the surfer version of the fucking outro they play. That's great.
Hmm.
And also, I love the part where Charlie's gives this very dramatic speech. I love my friends. Oh my God, I love my country, and it gets overly patriotic at the end.
Yeah.
The ghost of Bill Nye is also really funny, and then just the actual like last scene of the season where they're first of all, okay, actually, the one joke is the in memoriam is of this time is the average smiling friends fan, and that got me because that's so stupid. But then they're trying to question the logistics of how fucking Rotten works now because like is he just a wave? Is he the whole ocean? Then he just eats of the fucking boat, and they're all running away because they're scared, and that's the end of season two.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's just a fucking good episode. I will be watching it every Christmas, and what a good season! I will be watching these episodes all the fucking time. I adore this shit. Season two is a 10 for me, honestly. I'll say
Really?
it. I,
Wow.
I think. I think there are more like episodes I'd give that high than I wouldn't, and I think it's just like I've been waiting for this for so long, and I think it was more than worth the wait. And I kept yapping
I
about
am
it with friends, and it was so sweet.
also giving
Some
it
of
a
it's
9
but
out of 10. I no, a 9 out of
oh,
10, yeah.
okay, I
I
didn't
wouldn't
give
say
it.
10. I don't think it's quite there, but I do like it more than the first season. I can see myself definitely coming back to a lot of these episodes, and
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
I am looking forward to season 3. We'll try and talk about it whenever that comes out. We'll I don't know what we'll
Yeah,
do for that yet, but that's probably like a while from now. But anyways,
yeah. I think if we're roughing it, season three got confirmed like a little bit after the Alien episode came out. So I'm roughing it. It'll probably be a similar time gap, and we're feeling like maybe year 2 years, because like it was season 1 to 2 gap, and I think that's perfectly fine. Take as much time as you need to make this show as good as possible, because really, so much of what I respect about it is the little details that you can't get unless you're like putting so much meticulous effort into everything. So I point is I really appreciate all that, and I'm really glad
yeah.
all that is all
Anyways,
that's
thank you for tuning in for another episode of Campy Cast. I
yeah.
know this was a
I
really
don't think Friends as a whole
pretty
is a
damn
9, by the
long
way.
one,
It
but there
was
was a
like
lot of
yeah.
layers to Smiling Friends and
E
its different jokes and comedy. Just a lot to
I
discuss
think I'm
in
really
their
glad I this. I
episodes.
love breaking down joke structure. It's so fun,
Yeah,
and I
the
love
best part
Smiling
of this
Friends so much.
episode was mainly
It's one
talking
of my
about
favorite
specific
like
jokes.
things. Yeah. By the way, we didn't do overall show ratings, but I think you could add it up. It's like a
It's
9
a
for both
9
of
for
us. I
me.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, fair to say.
Uh,
Yeah, and I just gotta hold on. There's only one way we can end this. Hello, thank you for watching. Hello, thank you for watching. Hello, thank you for watching. Hello.